I didn't know you liked movies.
Yeah, I do actually. Believe it or not, it's crazy.
Huh.
Do you like
like
movies?
a podcast or something?
Do you
I
like
don't
movies?
really care for them.
Oh, okay.
Just spent
I actually
90% of my
lied.
life
I don't
consuming
either.
them.
I just like logging on Letterboxd
I
because
just like
random
having
people want to
annoying
follow me.
opinions.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I like annoying people and fucking posting on Twitter about how I don't like a very popular movie.
Welcome, everybody, to a very special episode of the Lupo Cinema Symposium. It is our first ever annual Lupo Awards!
Yay!
Yay!
Yay! The world is waiting in
Yes.
tense anticipation.
With bated breath on our picks. I guess I should say more your picks, you two guys, because you guys actually watched movies this year. I only saw Long Legs, so I really don't think that qualifies me to speak on who deserves awards for the year. But tell me, before we actually get into the awards, what were, I guess, some of your favorite movies this year? You know, not talking about any specific category, but what did you find most? What was like your favorite, and then what was like what would you consider your best movie?
Well, that's going to be the award,
Yeah,
Jim.
no,
Oh my
We're not
God.
going to give it
definitely go up.
away. That's going to be the end.
Yeah.
We're going to give the end. I mean, we can talk about like. I mean,
Uh,
you'll see all the stuff
do we
we
have
picked,
do we
but
have
there are
bad
definitely
categories?
no, not really.
Give a
I was
shout
thinking
out to
about
your
that at
least
one
favorite
point.
movie this year.
Okay, least favorite.
Terrifier 3.
I guess I can right off the bat. I mean, like Amelia Perez is not going to win any of our things. I really didn't like that. I don't know if Christian saw it. Did you see it?
It didn't resonate with me. And there were a lot of flaws I found in it. But
Yeah,
that's as much as I'll say. No,
I
Terrifier
hate.
3 for me was the worst movie of the year by a country mile.
Would you
Yeah.
say
And I like horror movies, but that was just an insult to any fan with a modicum of functionality in their brain.
would you say
It was
it's because it insists upon itself?
it insists upon itself. I just couldn't get into it. Did not care
Um.
for Terrifier 3.
So, did you like any of the Terrifier movies or no?
I liked the first one. It was a bit
The
much for
first
me.
one.
I mean, it's never going to be one of my favorite horror movies, but after the first one, it kind of that's all you really need.
Yeah.
It's the same movie 3 times. Although I found, listen, you can get this on my letterbox, but
Yeah.
I found it to be like mean spirited and just lazy.
So, I mean, I guess like as far as movies that are, you know, maybe will be like are talked about like that people might expect that aren't going to make any of our lists. I think like Amelia Perez was one. Her number two, personally, I didn't like. I don't know if Christian liked that one. And then like Baby Girl, I didn't like. I don't know, a couple movies like that. But then as far as like really really bad movies, there's really five really bad movies that I saw this year. The first one I saw was Godzilla Kong, the New Empire, or whatever the fuck it's called. That was one of the worst theater experiences I've ever had in my entire life. And it was so bad at a certain point, I pretended to have to go to the bathroom just so I could get out of the theater. Um, it was really bad. So that was brutal. Venom: The Last Dance, also very brutal for different reasons. I had very high expectations because I they're not great movies, but I liked the first two, and that movie was just so bad in such a soul crushing way. Madam Web was bad. I mean, everybody's talked about that at
Craven,
nauseum. Craven, I didn't see. Did you
I
see
saw it.
Craven? Yeah,
I'm,
it
s- I,
looked bad.
yeah, it was pretty dog shit. Really dog shit. It
And then the
it
last,
I think Sony
yeah,
is gonna give up.
yeah, they should, as they should. The last two, one is Megalopolis. We both saw that. I did not like that movie. That movie was fucking dog shit.
Favorite movie.
Uh, it was dog
Fav-
shit in such a fun way though. So I like in a way I kind of forgive it, but
I think that's
and the last
Capra
one,
at his best.
yeah, the last one I hate the absolute most is Maxine. And I think if you're listening to this and you like that movie, um, stop listening. Thank you.
Do you think
That's
your
all.
semester at medical school entitles you to the riches of my Emersonian mind?
Entitles me?
Yes.
Go back to the club.
um,
So yeah, that's it. As far as movies I didn't like, I don't know.
I think you hit the
so
nail on the head for me.
good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a quick little shout out too for the beautiful design of our Lupo, the Lupo. I guess I should say our little award here. What did you? What is it called? What is his scientific name?
It's an award. It's a statue.
But what's the inscription say?
Oh,
It's a
it
secret.
it's a secret. That's
Anyway,
that's for our hardcore fans to figure out.
yeah. Anyway,
Me?
let's
Exactly none of you.
Yeah, that's just me. That's the only one.
let's get into our first category here. Oh, oh,
Oh, we're going
oh,
into the categories. Let's
oh.
go. Okay.
I'm
Let
I'm
me
pushing the
pull it up
button.
on
Nothing. Oh, there
Can
we
we
go.
can we
Oh,
see it?
here we go. Okay, so I there
Can
we
you
go.
make it
I
visible to
just
us?
was looking at the title screen here for our little presentation, and then I realized there's a big, so you can actually like see down there what the inscription
my.
is. This is an on the fly design. Congratulations, Christian. You really have a talent. It captured the
Five
essence.
of the Lupo
Yes.
Awards. I
Yes.
wanted something that was both prestigious and stupid.
Yeah. Which is,
Well, you failed.
symbolism
It's
of the
only prestigious.
podcast.
It's only beautiful. It's only powerful.
Stunning and
Thank
There's
you.
brave.
nothing stupid about this. I think it's quite, quite prestigious. In
I
fact.
can hear the awooga. Anyway, our next
Oh
slide
man.
here. Okay. The category is Best Visual Effects. We have our nominees here: Beetlejuice Squared, Alien Romulus, Dune number 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and The Substance. Now, again, for those of you that don't know, I'm your host. I am experiencing these awards just as you. So I will be just as shocked to see the decisions here. Can we get a drum roll, please?
Before you do that, I want to say the visual effects. I think when we did this, we kind of talked about it. Like, I don't know how they do it for like the Oscars or whatever, but like when we were talking about this, it was taking into account like makeup, I guess, and like anytime they're making like a creature like in Alien or like any of the all of these really, but not basically just not just CGI. CGI is part of it, but like we were kind of looking at the whole thing,
Mm.
and that's how we came to our choice. And I mean, as far as the nominees, I think this year wasn't really um, like an effects heavy year for me. Like as far as like I felt like a lot of big blockbusters this year fell a little flat. Um, but the actual effects in a lot of these movies were um, really cool. But I don't know. I think there are out of the five, there are specifically three of them that stand out more than like any other movies this year. So I don't know if you just want to go into the winner. Christian, do you have
Um,
anything to say about the nominees?
not to shatter the illusion, but can you see these?
See what?
The slideshow?
I'm not even looking. I'm on my phone.
Okay. Okay. Let me get my notes out then. So
All right. In the meantime, while you get your notes, I'm gonna make my official guess who I think is going to win the award. I think Alien Romulus is going to win, just because I saw that's the only movie that I saw out of this list.
And the effects were good. Here's and I'm not giving anything away. I'm just going to give you the counter
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, for all these, I could give you a counter or like a pro of all of them.
Um,
But the counter for Alien Romulus, the one thing I think all the effects in that movie are like mind blowing, except for the Ian Holm recreation. Um,
yeah.
I watched it on Hulu and I watched it in theaters, and they said they fixed it because it wasn't really ready on release, the theatrical. So I watched it on Hulu again. I really didn't feel like it was any better in that. It's not that it's terrible. It's honestly like impressive that it's as good as it is, but it's still like really took me out of the movie. Um, and it's just a weird decision because it really didn't have to be him. Could have been just any robot character. I mean, they've had a million of them in Alien. As much as I loved him as an actor, it's like kind of sad because it's like that's not really him.
It does do that
And
uncanny valley kind of.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that is my drawback for Alien Romulus. The other side is like I did think there's shit like all the Alien movies. There's shit that's just like so good. And there are times where some of the effects are some of the best in the series, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Um, and then like I mean, Beetlejuice. I just liked all the like crazy little creatures and guys and that. Like, I just thought that was cool. Dune. I mean, um, you have a lot of effects, but at the same time, it felt very grounded. Um,
It is written.
yeah. Um,
It is written.
Planet of the Apes. You have the apes. You know, that's fucking crazy. They're good. I will say for the apes, Um, I would say the apes weren't quite as good in this as they have been, but they were still like miles better than a lot of other stuff, that comes out. And then the substance, you have like some pretty gnarly and crazy effects in that as well. So,
What were
um,
your
and
what were
what
your
did you
notes?
guess, Romulus, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good guess. Good guess.
Yeah, I think it's a good guess. Are
Did
you
you
gonna
you
let you
you have your notes?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Please proceed.
Go ahead.
And
as
the
far as what?
winner
Oh, I'm
is
sorry. I'm so stupid. I thought you were
I'm
gonna give it
so
before.
confused. I'm so lost.
That's why I thought it was gonna be before.
Oh, you want us? Oh, no. You're
No,
gonna
no, no, no.
reveal it, bro.
You know
Yeah,
what? As a host with the most, I botched
yeah. You
this.
you're
Okay.
you're in charge. You're
The
large and in charge, bro. Don't
the first award is always the most hassle. The rest are gonna flow like butter. Anyway,
flow
absolutely.
through.
I don't have a drum roll effect, so we're gonna get just a quick little drum. And the
That's fine.
award
That
goes
works.
to
Perfect. That's perfect.
the
The
substance.
Hey,
substance.
who wants to go first?
Yeah,
Um,
Demi Moore was not here to accept this award, so I will accept it on her behalf.
that's a picture.
you can go, Christian. I think you'll probably have. I don't know. You might have more to say about it.
Well, I want to start with just addressing the fact that what I appreciate about the substance is the practical effects. Um, and for the scope of their ambitions, practical effects was the best choice to make.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree.
not It's not all practical effects. Like there is clearly CGI in here, um, but they're achieving this like Clive Barker, Cronenberg effect that you don't really see a whole lot in movies anymore. Even just the concept of you don't see a whole lot in horror movies anymore. I am a fucking slut for a good body horror movie. Um, and the effects in this were absolutely fucking disgusting. um, in the best way. Like it's visceral, it's convincing, it's immersive, and altogether, it looks, even though it's a thing of fantasy, looks convincingly real and it is convincingly effective. And I just think the effort coupled with the imagination gives this movie the edge.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there's a reason this movie broke through when a lot of movies like it don't really break through into the
Mhm.
mainstream.
You're right.
Um, the whole substance, I
Margaret
guess, like
Qualley doesn't
moment.
hurt either.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. The whole substance like moment that's happening, like with the awards and stuff, honestly, is like kind of surprising to me. But I think it's all like it is a testament to like um, they had their priorities in the right place when they were making this, and the audiences
Absolutely.
resonated with that, and it came through. Like it came. It's a good movie.
It's a great
Um,
movie.
yeah. So I mean, I would say like I don't think this was necessarily hard for me. I feel like the substance was the most well-rounded and like overall consistent, like best effects.
Yeah.
Um, if I were gonna go for like high points, I probably would have gone with Romulus, but kind of like we talked about, the negatives of that and the negatives of like certain moments in Planet of the Apes that I found, I felt like
Mhm.
the substance was just so like again with the practical effects, it's just so consistent and
Yeah. Even
it delivers what it needs to. It's disgusting, and
yeah,
that's what it
even
needs to be.
the elements that are not as spectacular as some of the other elements in this movie, like the subtle makeup in Demi Moore,
Yeah,
that gets progressively worse as the film goes on, which isn't what you would think when you're thinking of the effects of this movie, are fucking perfect.
yeah, and it
Fucking
helps her
perfect.
performance too. I mean,
Yeah. Great performance by
it
her.
just yeah, yeah, very good.
Her, actually, to call back to other award shows that have happened so far, just to preface, the Oscars have not happened yet.
No, yeah, this
Um,
is we're 3 days from the Oscars.
the Oscars will be this Sunday. We're filming this on a Thursday.
Yeah,
Um, her Golden Globe speech was actually fucking like one of my favorite acceptance speeches of the year so far.
I didn't see it.
It was very good. It was very, very good.
I watched her. This is off topic, but so cut me off whenever, Jim. But I watched her in Indecent
Stop now.
Proposal recently. That's actually perfect time to stop. That's it. That's all.
Good. um, yeah.
Sorry.
I've never seen the substance before, so to just get flashbang with this image is nice. I love this.
I'm so mad I
Uh,
can't fucking see it.
it's you go into the slides. Go into the slides.
I could. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you
Yeah,
updated it since we did the winners. Yeah.
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 And then it also shows my little dude, so you can, or like my little thing, so you can see what I'm on. Follow along from home. So yeah,
Um,
that's beautiful. I'm gonna
yeah.
click this just to get this off the screen.
Rob, I'm gonna step away for 2 minutes. Keep talking.
Okay, I got it.
I wonder if this is how the is it the Oscars? Oscars
What?
is movies, right?
Yeah,
Okay, I wonder if the Oscars are always this chaotic.
they are. I'm sure
Like this, you
backstage.
got somebody about to present the award, and then like I don't know, Jude Law is
Yeah.
like, I gotta take a shit first. Hold on. Wait.
All right.
Well, remember though, I don't know, you probably weren't paying attention then, but the one year they got the best picture wrong. And they had the whole wrong best picture, like cast and crew on stage,
That was the
and
best.
they had to get them off stage and get the right one on. It
It's like
was
if
really
Steve
crazy.
Harvey did the wrong beauty
Yeah,
pageant
it was like that, but worse because there was like
because there's
20
like
people
so
on
many
stage.
more people.
Yeah,
Oh
That
my
was the
yeah,
god.
funniest
really.
thing in the world.
It was. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm ready to move on. I don't have much else to say about it.
Right.
Just visual
That
effects are.
was that La La Land, right?
Oh yeah, it was Moonlight in La La Land. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Um, but just visual effects in general, I feel like they don't necessarily give the people that like do this stuff the time and money that they need to like do it well these days. Like I feel like a lot of shit that comes out is not done well.
The
So to
fucking
see it
Lupo
done
award.
well, what happened? Oh, oh, he's looking at the. But to see it done well, like it's one of the best feelings when you're in a theater and like there's just some great effects. It takes a movie to a whole nother level. So
Yeah, that's an underappreciated part of film, especially now that like everything is being reliant more and more on like computers and all that type of stuff.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
like even when they talk about like animation and shit too, like that's a whole big thing. Like
Yeah,
Spider Verse
because
got
I
like
mean it.
delayed because they were like, hey, you can't make these people work 16 hours a day for the next 4 years.
Yeah, it all goes hand in hand because it's like CGI artists. It's like
Yeah,
they're these they're technical artists, so like it takes time to do that kind of thing, and all these studios are like sometimes depending on the movie, it almost feels like a factory. They're just pumping stuff out, and the artist doesn't always get to really realize the thing they're making. They kind of just have to do the best with the time they have. So yeah, but
yeah. Um, so let's see our next category here. We have best costume. Our nominees, we have a couple repeats here. Beetlejuice, Gladiator 2, Dune, Part 2. I'm sorry, it just says Dune 2, but it's Part 2. Conclave, and can we get a back of back award potentially for The Substance?
whoa,
What do you think, Jim?
back to
I
back.
think see, now I don't know any of these movies.
Yeah, but
But I think
you've seen pictures,
I can remove Conclave because it's like okay, it's like everybody's seen a priest before.
bro.
Uh,
Come on, they have beautiful gowns in that movie. Very
everybody.
beautiful gowns,
I mean, but
beautiful chains.
it's not like original.
Jimmy, I'll tell you this.
How
Every
dare
movie
you?
here had a strong, strong case for best costume.
Yeah. Remember that we're the ones picking these nominees. It's not like preset.
I feel like
It's two guys.
I feel like it's gonna be Beetlejuice.
Tell us
You
why.
know what? I respect that is a ball guess, even though you don't
Uh,
know ball.
isn't
But
it
you
like
could know
super
ball.
wacky? So it's like you're gonna have a bunch of kooky designs that are gonna require like
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
mean they
diverse
do
costume.
have
movie.
really good costumes in that movie. Um, they have them in all these, but yeah, that is probably like that's like the Burton wacky kind of look.
I'll say
Um,
this. Because it is just me and Robbie, like there is a strong consensus that every movie nominated deserved to be nominated.
Yeah.
yeah,
Um. So I guess I'm still sticking with my vote, and
Beetlejuice.
the award goes to
Drum roll.
Dune 2.
Yeah,
Yay.
so I think we talked about just how um, when the stuff had to look, what's the word? I guess when it had to look like extravagant, it did. But even just like functionally, all the stuff in this movie, like they look like it looks like the still shoot. Like I read the book before I saw the movies. The still shoot was always something I had a hard time imagining, and
Mm.
like I never really thought like I would like what they would end up doing, and it just turned out to work so much better than I ever thought it would. It because it looks functionally like it would be a kind of desert outfit. That's kind of what we were when we were talking about this. Christian said that, and I was like, "That's true."
I think the if I may,
Go ahead.
um, the costuming in this is part of the environmental storytelling of the movie.
Yeah,
Um, but because in this one you do get that shift to the desert environment from the first part of Dune, um, you get even more richer, deeper storytelling that is built on with the costuming. Uh, and you have to imagine these people are living on a desert planet. What would they wear day to day, like even outside the still suits? And it's near perfect. Not to mention like the Bene Gesserit is. I think that's how you say it.
yeah,
Again, I'm more familiar with the book too, but the Bene Gesserit. Um, like, how do you make something look like an authentic religious outfit, but being completely made up? And
Yeah.
this movie succeeds on every single level. Even Baron Harkonnen and Austin Butler's character, who is remind me,
Um,
the
the
Harkonnen.
nephew. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but
like even
he's the
like drawing
nephew.
similarities between their culture and the culture on Arrakis, uh, but also making them their own distinct thing that still
Yeah,
fits in the same universe. Like every single costume in this was pitch perfect and coherent more than anything. So to me, Dune 2 was had the edge here.
yeah, and just like piggybacking off of that, like I think Dune as a series, like, is fascinating because it's so rooted in anthropology. So it's like it has these wild sci-fi ideas, but a lot of it is rooted in like what would this look like in like a future society, basically, like how would this evolve? So, and I liked that certain costumes like almost felt they almost felt familiar, but at the same time they had this kind of quality of like this is like not anything I've seen before, you know. So a lot of it's like reminiscent of like I almost want to say like medieval like clothing, but or even like I guess like I don't know. I'm thinking of like feudal like courts and stuff like that. Some of it
Right.
like sort of reminiscent of that stuff, but at the same time, it's totally. It doesn't really look like it looks unique to the world of Dune. You know.
And
So
the award
yeah.
for best movie featuring a sandworm goes to
Conclave.
Surprisingly,
Beetlejuice.
not Dune. Yeah, surprisingly, no. And just real quick, as far as the other movies, like Conclave, I just think I know it's like it is you're replicating something in real life, but like they did a good job and they do look fucking good. The
It just
Substance,
doesn't meet
those
it doesn't meet the
cool.
imagination of Dune.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's like it is like Dune is on another level. And Gladiator's kind of a similar thing. They're kind of recreating something established. The Substance, I just thought their outfits were like cool, you know. And like I guess if you want to pair in costumes with like the monster costume kind of thing, like that could go hand in hand. But um, Beetlejuice is probably the closest to being like we're talking about with Dune, where it's like this kind of imaginative thing. But um, it's I mean we've all seen Burton stuff, and I think Beetlejuice we like people have seen it. You know, it doesn't take away from it, but there is a certain amount of like I've seen this before. You know, and I don't necessarily think it. You know, it's basically as like in that way as good as the original, which is a testament to the quality of the film. So, but I don't think it meets what Dune did with
I
its
agree.
costumes.
Hmm.
Not
And
to take anything away from Beetlejuice, but there is a difference between doing something silly and doing something unique and sci-fi, but also plausible.
Yeah, it's world build. I mean, it's doing world building through the clothing,
Yeah,
which is hard.
it displays a level of effort that is almost like insane.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I agree.
I think there's not much more I can say.
hmm. Well, on that note,
Are we
let's
ready
go
to
to our next
move on
category
to?
here.
Oh, we can't just go to the next category. We have a musical number planned, and
So true. I
We have a
mean, like
music. We have a
you're
musical
just
number.
ruining our plans here, Jim. I mean, you know, we had Kesha ready to come out on stage.
Oh my
we
god,
You
haven't
I have
even
know,
a
she was
gotten to
going to sing a song.
our first scripted wardrobe malfunction.
oh my
I have
god,
a
I ruined the
tap
whole.
dance scheduled right now. It's supposed to be on right now, tap dancing, and you're not letting me.
It's not just an award show; it's a variety hour.
That's very true. I have a couple sponsors lined up, but I guess I'll have to wait. Go ahead.
This is me tap dancing. Oh, you can't even hear it. Never mind.
Kids are awesome.
Anyway.
Too
Welcome back,
shticky. I
everybody.
love it.
We are here live and in color. Our next award category, Best Production Design. We have the nominees here. Gladiator 2, Alien Romulus, Nosferatu getting its first nod, The Brutalists, and Conclave. Now, you're going to have to fill me in on what it means to have good production design. Like, what are you looking for here?
So it's basically the sets, and
Okay.
it's one. There's a couple ways you can go about it. There's the ambition of the set. So, for example, in Gladiator, they literally like built their own coliseum, and one of the anecdotes Ridley Scott tells is um, they looked at the coliseum, thought about shooting there, and he said, "This is too small." So he built a
Wow.
bigger coliseum. Um, so there's the ambition, and then there's the detail. So, for example, stuff like Conclave, Nosferatu, like even Romulus in certain aspects, like just the little things, like the way a computer looks or the way this bookcase is, like in Nosferatu, it's like they're recreating a time period. Um, does it feel like
Accurate.
you're watching something from this time period? That kind of thing, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So that's kind
I
of
think
how I was looking at it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think the two words I said for actually costume design goes kind of hand in hand with production design, where it's environmental storytelling and it's immersive. I don't know if you agree there, Rob, but
Hmm.
I
I
do.
think
I do. I took a drink of water at the worst time.
going.
Yeah, I do agree.
I already got my pick. I think Romulus should win. I'm just gonna keep
okay.
picking it until it gets it
The
because.
the number one Romulus stand. Jim, did I see that movie with you?
Yes. I
Yeah,
remember
That's
how
we all saw
crazy.
it
unhappy. I
together.
remember how unhappy you were after you
Oh, let's
watched
not dwell. Let's not dwell on the past.
Oh.
Let's not dwell. There were things I liked about it. Like I do appreciate things about it.
hmm
My problem really was like with like the script,
Your first
honestly. But
words after you saw it were, "I'm disappointed."
I remember I remember the look on your
um,
face, Rob. It was the same look I probably had.
and yet here I am nominating it as one of my,
True.
we can appreciate all things, you know,
Listen.
even the flawed. Who
And it
among us is not flawed, you
but
know?
on the side of production design, Romulus is a pretty strong contender.
That's what I'm
Yeah, I
thinking. Just
agree.
because of the way, like it's not it's just the way that you were explaining it to. It's like there's the actual space station itself, which is its own like environment, all the things
Mhm.
inside of it, and then towards the end, like space itself gets involved. Because they crash the space station and it like gets destroyed by an asteroid belt. So it's like
Yeah.
not only are you like looking at these really cool shots of the environment, but it's also like involved in the plot as well.
I also really liked the parts before the space station when they're on the mining colony.
Yeah.
I agree. It's
Um,
actually the reason I felt like it's what put it in this conversation for me. I thought that world was really developed visually in a cool way.
right, because it's kind of the first time you're getting it in one of the Alien movies. Like
Yeah.
you
Actually,
get it in the Promethean movies and stuff like that, but I think Aliens 3 you get like the prison colony for a little bit, but this was like
yeah.
a look at I guess more or less a civilian life
Yeah.
in these movies, which
I
I
was
appreciate.
act- I was actually a little disappointed when they left the colony. I was kind of hoping it would be like the they attack the colony and all that, and like that would have been a cool. But yeah, so um, but yeah, Romulus. I think if it had a strength, it's visually the world building of Romulus is some of the best in the Alien franchise, which has some of the best world building.
I will
Um,
say when they get stuck in there in the room filled with all the face hugger eggs,
mhm.
and they start hatching as the temperature rises. I think that was my favorite scene in the entire movie.
I
Um,
would probably agree. Um, other than I did like the scene where Jimmy's talking about where then she's out in space and the thing's chasing her, and you see the big shot of like the ring around
yeah,
the planet or whatever. It's pretty
that
cool.
reminded me of the game. Did you play Isolation at all?
Yeah, I did. I never finished it.
Oh, great. One of
'Cause
actually like one of the better horror games, I think.
I
Honestly.
think so too. I just got I they stress me out those games, so I was unable to finish it.
Well, the
But
thing is, as much as I love horror, as anyone of this podcast probably listen knows, no one listens, but if you do, you know at this point I like horror movies.
I
Um,
listen. I listen.
they don't
I'm a
scare me.
fan.
They don't scare me anymore. I need to get my fix. So the games are where I do that.
um
I
yeah, I mean
can't
But
I
I'm
wait.
a,
I have really hope that this. I really hope Alien Romulus doesn't win, and we just spent like 10 minutes talking about it.
we could spend 10 minutes on all of these.
I could, yeah, I actually could. Um
I mean, look at the Brutalist, like the architecture of the Brutalist, like the
it's yeah, I mean it's amazing how they did that because really when you're watching, I mean we could I don't mind talking about them. I mean the Brutalist is amazing because when you're watching it you don't necessarily know like did they build that, did they do a model, did they do this, did they, is it digital, you have no, like I personally I could not tell, I didn't know what they did. And I read online after, I think some of the structures were like partially built, some of it was digital, and then they used models as well. And
right.
that's just like it's all the ways of crafting stuff like this coming together. They used every tool at their disposal, and it comes through. Um, Nosferatu, Robert Eggers is
The
his
man.
background is actually as a production designer. So
Ooh.
in all his movies, not just Nosferatu, that is like one of the strengths I
I
find
think
continually.
production design wise, I think this is my favorite Eggers movie. Um, just because of the shots in the town. Like the whole like small German Gothic, like 19th century town was fucking phenomenal to me. Not to
Yeah,
mention the countryside village stuff and the castle stuff, but the town is really what won me over with that movie.
yeah, and
Conclave is
then
kind of hard to ignore also because they literally just it's the Vatican, which is already
yeah,
just
they
like
had a
a real
so
life visually impressive thing.
Jim. So you've never seen it, but if you watch it,
Oh,
I'm kind of a stupid guy. All right.
okay.
So I watched it and I was like, okay, I guess they shot it in the Vatican or whatever. Like they gave them a hall to use,
Oh,
whatever.
it is
Like no
very
big deal.
convincing.
They built
The
their own
Vatican.
Vatican.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they built it, and it looks fucking like it looks like
Like St.
Real.
Peter's.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like pretty crazy. And then like I said with Gladiator, he fucking built an entire town to look like ancient Rome, like the Colosseum and all that. He built like a town square leading up to the Colosseum, which
I will
is
say,
more than he did for the original, I think. I do
yeah.
think they had the Colosseum in the original, but he didn't have the town part. That was a lot of CGI and stuff. So that is awesome as well.
That's insane.
And in for every single one of these movies, like the case is that the environment is almost a character in each of these movies. Um,
Yes, I agree. Some more than others, and I think that impacted why we
yep.
what we were talking about. I think some more than others. Um, yeah,
And I have more to say, but I think we should.
Yeah.
yeah, because we can say more
So
after
many
too,
great
but I
things
think it is
about
time.
these movies, but unfortunately, only one of them is going to win. Let's get the drum roll going. And the award goes to Conclave.
This stupid fucking trophy.
You don't like him walking down the stairs with his
Yeah, let's
bud?
put my doodle in the background for best production design. That'll enhance it.
It's fitting. It worked. It fits in perfect.
It adds to the piece, really.
I want everyone to know we're going to use this design for the next 10 years, so get used to
Yes,
seeing it.
yes,
But
When we become like an actual
absolutely.
mainstream product and we're on
even if we
uh
don't,
yeah.
Imagine me on fucking
late
no,
night.
I don't think I could do it. Yeah, I literally was gonna say on Jimmy Kimmel. I couldn't do it, bro.
So you got
I'd
this
fucking
design here. Who made
for the
this?
That's
fucking Lupo cast.
Yeah, I said, yeah, I sent them the wolf meme with the fedora, and I said, I want this.
it works.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Gravibus
but
quizquularum.
I guess to separate Conclave from the pack, um, kind of what I was hinting at, like I feel like more than any of the other movies, although they all kind of have or like I feel like Gladiator to an extent Nosferatu, and I do think The Brutalist has aspects of like, you know, the setting feeling like it's part of the story, but none of them as much as Conclave, and I think Conclave feels so authentic. Um, and at the same time, it's so elegant. It's so It's so beautiful.
Mm.
Um, it's just nice to look at on top of the functional parts of it. Um,
It sets the
that's
mood.
why, yeah. I think, and it really when you think about the movie as a, it's like it really is a political drama in this, but it's in a church. So when you think of it that way, the setting, like you're saying, it sets a mood in such a perfect way for this like political drama, like mystery kind of thing. Like,
To me, it gives it
um,
scale too. I don't know if you feel the
yeah,
same way, but
I do. Yeah, I agree.
because like nowhere in this movie, like yes, they're choosing the pope, and like if you have any idea of what that means for like the Catholicism, the grandiose, or not grandiose, but the scale of that like impact and what it's going to mean for like a huge part of the world.
Yeah,
But nowhere in the movie does it say that. It's all confined in this atmosphere talking about choosing the new pope, but the the grandiose structure and architecture and the way they designed and the areas they chose to put certain scenes in, you understand that, even if you don't have the context for it. And I feel like a lot of that is done by the environment. I don't
yeah.
know. That might not be the best way to articulate what I'm
No,
trying to come across, but
yeah, I agree. I think you said it well.
also
Um,
it looks lived in and old, and parts of it look dusty.
yeah,
Even though they didn't have to do that. So I don't know. I'm a big fan of this one.
I
Hmm.
think when it has to feel a little claustrophobic, like when they're in the hallways and in their rooms, it does. It does that well. But when it
Right, and
does have
even in
to
the
look,
hallways, you're like,
you
"Oh,
know,
I'm in a hallway in the Vatican." Like, it's not just
right,
a fucking hotel room.
yeah. And then when it does have to portray, you know, the the scale of this, it's the high ceilings of is it the Sistine Chapel, I guess. Almost like maybe I'm reading into it. It made me feel like there's this incredible like weight or presence over hanging over them while they're like writing, like voting on this. And
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. I could gush about a lot of things about this movie. I mean,
I think you and I
a lot
both
of
know
the
that there's a
yeah,
podcast coming on Conclave,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it might be
definitely.
better to save some of it.
Right, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it's great. I think all of these are great, but I think this is in a class of its own to an extent.
Good.
Give it up for Conclave.
You said we're gonna be watching it?
More
At
than
some
likely.
point, at
Yeah.
some
Hmm.
point,
Interesting. Interesting. I
if
can't
the
wait to fall
wheel
back
so
on this.
chooses, if the wheel so chooses.
I can't wait to not reference the set at all. I can't wait for this to flash
There's
forward, and I
I,
just
Let
I
like,
me
think
oh
do it.
yeah, yeah, there's a lot
I
of
I
Jesus
think
in it.
there are definitely a few movies from this year that I will probably end up recommending at some point.
Yeah. So real quick, now that you say that, this is like kind of off topic, but like I've seen a lot of talk about how this is like a bad year for movies. But I think that's
Disagree.
totally wrong. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's been a bad year if you're like looking at blockbusters only, because I think a lot of the blockbusters this year have fallen flat, like I said, and there have been a lot of really weak blockbusters. But as far as like total, like of all the movies I've watched, like just the amount of good movies I've seen this year, it's honestly like crazy how many good movies have come out this year.
so
Um,
many.
yeah, so I don't know. I think it's been a great year.
This is one of my favorite years in a long time for movies, and I've heard
Yeah.
people say that too, and I'm like, I just don't think you're paying attention.
Last year was good too, but I mean, I think just the quantity of like great movies this year is like incredible. Because last
Also,
year there were a couple I liked, but
yeah, I don't
didn't
know.
necessarily
This
have the quantity.
this probably has been like a contender for like one of my most favorite years for movies in a long time.
Yeah, me too. All right.
Good. And we move forward. The wheels turn. Best fights in a
All right,
movie.
ready?
No.
I am.
I have to name the nominees first.
Oh,
Silly. Gladiator
yeah.
2. Monkey Man. Dune. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And our first Netflix nod. Rebel Ridge. Um, I feel like you can't not have Gladiator win the best fights because that's like what the whole
You're
movie
right.
is about. But if you guys have any commentary beforehand, I can't wait to be proven wrong.
Um,
Um, I guess I'll say that these are all good. In one way or another. Um, I don't think I have much to say. I think just that um, the best type of fighting is when it feels like what's the word I'm looking for? Like there's um, not momentum, but like um,
I'm trying
I
to
don't
help you,
know.
but I
Just feels yeah. I guess like you can feel the adrenaline and impact of each movement in a fight. And I think that like all of these have that in one way or another. Ultimately, what I picked this based on was there's a movie here that one had the quantity, the amount of fighting and good fighting, not just fighting, but good fighting, like good
right.
fights. But also number two, made me. I don't know that I've never seen stuff it's doing in there before, but it's doing things that made me feel like damn, like I don't know if I've seen anything like this. Um, so that's kind of what separated from the pack. Although all these were good. So
I think. Well, I mean, just to say like more on like this as a topic as an award. Um, we didn't want to feel too constricted to like the Oscar formula.
yeah,
Um, and this is something that like does feel like worthy of its own category to
yeah,
me. Like you don't ever hear about it in like an award show scope of like best action. It's kind of usually lumped in there with like best cinematography or um,
hmm
something like that. But which is I would say is part of best fights, but you also have to think about like actual like blocking and choreography and like Robbie said, it does have to feel like kinetic. And
that's the fucking
yeah,
word, man. Fuck.
sorry,
Yeah, that
I just
is. That's what I was looking for.
um,
No, it's okay. You got it eventually. I'm glad. That's what I
but
was
also
looking for. Yeah.
like the best fights can carry emotional weight as in addition to like the weight of the actual punches and the force of the punches. There can be it can advance the plot in ways you wouldn't necessarily think. Which is what good fights do.
Yeah.
And I think every single movie here
Uh,
definitely does that in one way or another to some degree.
yeah. I think the fighting also can be an extension of the performance, but like you're saying, where there's fight choreography and stuff like that, also the performance of the fights. Both of those things are often overlooked, and they're, I guess you could say, like um, they're overarching categories of like
Right.
cinematography, acting, stuff like so. As isolating this kind of gives us a chance to highlight certain things because both of us we like action movies, um,
Yes,
and oftentimes the things they do well get overlooked over like in regard to how the how challenging some of that is. And I've seen plenty of movies where they don't do it well, and I don't know. It's just it is important. It can turn a mediocre movie into a good movie.
I agree.
Good.
There are definitely some like fight scenes out there that really lack imagination, and are just there for the sake of having action in a movie. But none of these do that.
Yeah, and I think I'll have more to say individually after we reveal. So,
Family.
yeah, unless I think I'm good. Unless
I'm good
you have
too.
more. Okay.
And that's where I step in. As I said, Gladiator, Widowy is gonna win the award. We're gonna find
Literally.
out in about 4 seconds. Drum roll, please.
And the winner is
And the Lupo goes to Monkey Man.
Jim's striking out right now. He does not
I
know
have
his
not.
friends
I am just
well.
completely.
He does not know us.
Yeah, I'm just
Um,
completely off base here.
so I'll say this for Monkey Man. Like I was saying, I think the thing that separated this is all the other four had great fights. Specifically, Dune has the great fight at the end, but it's not really a fight heavy movie. There is a lot of fighting in it, but like compared to some of these others, I didn't feel it was as it wasn't like the peak of the movie as much.
right.
Planet of the Apes, I guess it's kind of a similar thing. I would feel it it as great as it is. I don't necessarily think it sold the movie. Um, Gladiator, like you said, it's important, but I it might maybe it's unfair, but it doesn't really reach the first one for me.
No.
In a lot of them, and
Al-
certain fights are better than others.
Although I think we both
Um,
agreed like the baboon fight was like one of the coolest things we've seen in a
yeah,
while.
and I think the
Um,
fight in front of the two Caesars with Denzel in that little
Absolutely.
party is good, and but
The the ending fight with Denzel and what's his
that was
name?
yeah,
Yeah. No, there are really good moments in Gladiator too, and
yeah, uh,
it's a strong movie, but especially in the regards of fights. But Monkey Man takes it to a like a new level.
yeah.
Um,
I think it was felt like that's right. It's felt like it was new, or it was like an exciting and like refreshing. Like it was like a refreshing take on how
right,
to do action. Like Dev Patel, like it felt like he had lots of ideas, and this movie gave him a chance to explore that stuff. On the counter end, Rebel Ridge was for me number two, and
right.
it has good execution like Monkey Man on all these things, but it wasn't necessarily something I hadn't seen before. It felt very reminiscent to like stuff like John Wick, except he just didn't have a gun. So, but Monkey Man ultimately felt the most, I guess, unique and exciting to me. And the fighting is so important. And like I was saying, with the, it's an extension of the performance. Dev Patel's performance and performance in the
So good.
fighting is unbelievable, and it's something that is overlooked, but it's important.
I also
It's
think,
important to that movie.
and actually to compare Monkey Man to John Wick as well. Um, the fights in these had rhythm,
Yeah,
which the pacing of this movie, the rhythm of the script, the music, the fighting is just another element to that rhythm. it just completely matches everything else so well. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, yeah,
um,
I agree. I think it's
the
fighting
action
is
is the heartbeat of this movie.
yeah, fighting is like dialogue where I think sometimes people don't realize while they're watching a movie how important the rhythm of the thing is to their pleasure
Right.
and the viewing experience. Like these are things that like are can um elevate stuff, you know. It can elevate the fight. It can elevate a scene, you know. So
Absolutely.
um yeah, Monkey Man was good. I mean, on the whole as a movie, it was good, you know, and I think it's credit is like the fights hold such a central place in the movie, and they, like you were saying, they convey so much emotion in those scenes, and they tell the story through the fight. You know, it's a great action movie, and it's good credit to its genre.
Absolutely.
Let's see if you get the next one right, Jim.
I
Yeah.
now have to feel. I feel like I've been shooting for my picks, and I have to like wrap my
And that's
mind.
okay. That's okay. No, you can. You can root for somebody, Jim. That's all right.
But I feel like now I'm gonna like wrap my mind and see what you guys would pick.
It's really hard for us when you're picking the right one because we have to very quickly go back and make sure that the winner isn't what you picked.
Yeah.
I'm being denied.
I also think it's hard. It's going to be impossible for you to do this because it was
You
hard for us to pick a lot of the winners sometimes. Like,
Listen, 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 or whatever. I mean, statistically, I'm gonna have to get at least one.
I wish that's how statistics work, Jim.
um, our next category here: best antagonist. We have Denzel Washington in Gladiator 2, Hugh Grant in Heretic, Bill Sarsgaard in Nosferatu, Austin Butler for Dune 2, and Nicholas Holt in The Order. My pick is going to be gonna have to go with Bill Skarsgård, Nosferatu.
it's a good guess.
I
Yeah.
think so too. Solid.
That really wasn't. That was actually just like a me pick. That wasn't like a what I think you would pick.
Yeah, but it's a good guess.
I think you guys are gonna
He
pick
was good.
um, Austin Butler.
What if you just 4D chest your way and out of the right answer? What if I told you that?
I'm saying that my pick is Nosferatu. I'm saying your guys' pick is Dune.
Okay.
It is unwise to pick a winner
um,
or else.
yeah,
So can I
Um.
talk about this one a little bit, or is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
ball out.
Robbie, I'll let you start for the individual movies, but first, I just wanted to say that this category came out of something very similar to Best Fights, where, um, let's face it, the bad guys are often the best part of movies,
Yeah.
but are sadly, a lot of those performances are relegated to Best Supporting Actor. Um, but to me, always felt like filling a very different space than Best Supporting Actor. It to me, it's its own thing and deserves its own award.
Yeah.
We
I mean,
actually
I think.
had more nominees to talk about than, or not nominees, but we had more than five to talk about before we were picking our nominees, um,
Yeah.
which goes to prove that like this is something that's not just a once in a every few years kind of opportunity to do. Like there are always good antagonists in movies.
Yeah. I think. And the limiting them to best supporting also limits certain kinds of performances. I mean, with best supporting actor, sometimes I mean it's just natural. I think we tend to lean towards dramatic acting, but some more broad performances. don't necessarily always fit in the box,
Right.
and I think that's the advantage of this. Um, there's less of a box, it's just were they a good villain? Were they a good um, antagonist? Were they a good foil to whoever the hero is? And all five of these do that. I think starting with Denzel, he's definitely for me the highlight of that movie. It's he's so fun to watch, and it really comes through. Like there's something about how serious Gladiator is, like not just this one, but the original. Like how um, it's very like macho and like serious and like ooh like and Denzel is so like a unexpected like kind of different vibe while also fitting into the world in such a seamless way. And he's the fucking goat, man. Denzel's
Yes.
so good
What
in
does he say?
everything.
He's like, "It's my house now." I can't remember the exact.
Yeah. And he fucking yeah, man. He's just great.
He also brings something to this movie that only like a really good actor playing a really good villain can do. He brings humor to this movie.
Yeah, definitely.
And not like slapstick, like fucking haha Avengers humor,
Mhm.
but like clever, just like a tinge of lightheartedness in moments that really deserve it. That only like a really juicy villain can do. And
Similarly, on that note, next guy, Hugh Grant,
uh,
also home run like kind of performance in that the material that he gets is very good, but he it's like he was like made for that role. And he is so funny in certain parts where it's like you like feel guilty for laughing because like it's such a bad situation in that movie, but like he does stuff that's just strange and weird, or he'll say something like that's like just off. And yeah, I mean that's a great performance. And Hugh Grant as an actor, I think we agree is a little. I think he's underrated. I don't know. I
he's
mean,
got the sauce.
yeah, he's been relegated to like the rom com guy for a long time. It's kind of like I think at the age he's at, it's almost like a Nick Cage journey where people didn't take him seriously for a while. Um,
um,
he can be taken seriously now. Like he's going to start getting people who grew up with him are going to start giving him roles that are meaty, and this is an example of that.
and I think uh, what you can say about both him and Denzel is that you can tell how much fucking fun they had doing this, which
Yeah,
always adds
definitely.
something to movies. Like when the actor enjoys what they're doing. Um, I don't know. I especially villains to me when they're having fun, like it adds a whole nother level to a movie like this.
Yeah. Skarsgård, he's Nosferatu. The voice is perfect. The look is perfect. He's a great actor. He's great at doing these voices, these crazy you know, and the accents kind of, he does a little accent with it and everything. Um, he's just a great antagonist
You
in
can argue
anything.
that like even the creature design was a little. Now, don't get me wrong, the creature design is essential, but like not to his performance. Like he could have done this just looking like Bill Skarsgård and still fucking knock this out of the park.
Yeah,
He's that
definitely.
kind of actor. He's that kind of not character actor, I don't want to say, but like creature actor maybe.
He just falls into whatever it is, I think.
Yeah,
He just falls into it. Um, Austin Butler, I think, was kind of surprising. Um,
best line in the
he
movie.
he has a it's a performance that's like very um we'll call it loud, I guess. He is definitely he's a scene stealer. I'll say
Yeah,
that way.
yeah.
He is a highlight of any scene he's in that movie.
He has the
And
spotlight.
right, and he revels in it and he does a great job. And I think he's weird in it in a way that was very necessary for that character because
It it got rid of
that
his Elvis voice.
yeah, that character had to be um had to leave a mark on the movie because otherwise he's in a he's in his own circle because he's being introduced in the sequel whereas a lot of the other characters were already introduced previously. So he's already at like a disadvantage. So he had to make a mark, and he did. Um, Nicholas Holt is playing a Nazi. He fucking seems like a fucking Nazi. He's good at it. It's kind of
That
scary.
that movie has not been talked about enough
Not enough at all. Yeah,
anywhere for how fucking good it was. Um, and
and
like
he's
Jude
good
Law
in
was
it.
great in it.
Yeah,
And he plays like a perfect foil to Jude Law's character in this. Which like a good villain can be a standalone, but for like a movie where it is kind of a game of cat and mouse, you do need a good foil to your protagonist, and Nick Holt does that so well. Well, also like even though he's a Nazi, he does give like a very multifaceted kind of thing to this character, which you might not expect. You might just expect it to be like, oh, Nazi, yeah, that's all we need to know. No, this is so much more than that. A
yeah,
subtlety, I guess. I mean, he's still
yeah.
a Nazi, but like it's a complicated character.
I agree. I'm ready to go with the winner.
Yeah.
Good. And drum roll, please. The winner, Hugh Grant.
Yay.
Jim yet to get a win.
I know. I'm on the hunt.
Again, Hugh Grant couldn't be here tonight, so I'll also be accepting this Lupo on his behalf.
Do you like that in the picture I made him reaching for the Lupo?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he was great. I think it's an underrated performance this year, and I think it's going to hopefully propel him into some more stuff because like he really was. He was a highlight for me this year, and that movie was a highlight for me this year. Um, so yeah, it was good.
It was amazing. Um, Rarely do you get a villain that good in a movie like this.
Yeah, and I think I the whole movie is just surprising on every level, but like he is especially like I think like talking from a general audience's perspective, like he was always the you know innocent like kind of you know charismatic lovable guy, and this movie plays on that reputation well
Right,
while
like who wouldn't want to get invited into Hugh Grant's house
right
and have
and
tea?
it plays on the reputation while also instilling this feeling of like something's wrong, something's up here, and then he just goes into this whole character with like such a delight that's like really it was really fun to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I could put it any better. Even after the jig is up and you kind of know what's going on, it's
Oh
still a
yeah.
fucking knockout performance.
Yeah, I agree. Because it happens pretty early on. Like it's not like they don't
Yeah.
hold it over your head the whole movie. They kind of let you. They want you to figure out what's going on.
Which
Kind
I mean,
early, which
could
is good.
have it could have taken the breath out of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, but this is not that case, not
No.
even a little bit. And I do think, in part, thanks to Hugh Grant's performance. Also, having seen this movie, I'm pretty sure he could still invite me into his house and murder me, and I'd probably be none the wiser.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I have to say about it.
I think you picked a great
Uh,
frame too.
yeah.
All right. And let's go on to our next category here, Best Sound. And our nominees are Monkey Man, Alien, Romulus, Dune 2. A couple newcomers here, A Complete Unknown, and Kneecap.
So, real quick, just running through them. Monkey Man, I think it's the subtle things, it's the punches, it's the glass breaking, it's the background like club music, it's all the little things.
The club.
that don't necessarily blow you away, but they when you really pay attention, they jump out at you. Alien Romulus, it's like like a lot of the alien movies. It's the noises of the spaceship, the computers, the alien itself, the creating these, and the sounds the face huggers make when they're pulling them off, like stuff like that. Dune, there's many things. I think just again with all the categories with Dune, it's creating a world, and it's a world that's very visceral, and like you have to figure out how a sandworm sounds when it's coming out of the sand.
We don't know.
Like yeah, a spaceship. It's just it's helping build the world out and make it feel real and making it feel visceral. The last two, Complete Unknown and Kneecap, mostly because I thought, I mean, they're both musical oriented movies, um, and they just sounded good. Especially A Complete Unknown in that
Hmm.
it sounds like I don't know if they did it live, but it sounds like you're hearing live music. Um,
Did we see that
and
together?
it
No.
sounds authentic. Yeah, we did. I
Yeah.
saw it with them. Kneecap, on the other hand, is very like not rave like, but you feel um like the intensity of the music in the scenes where they're there. So I think all good choices. One stands out, um, but they I think all of these have a, a case at winning.
Right.
My guess is
What's that?
I'm picking Alien Romulus, baby. We're gonna ride this train till the wheels fall off. It's gotta win something. And Christian, you have any comments before we pop this cherry?
No, Robbie he hit it pretty well.
All right, then no further ado, let us get our drum roll going. Oh, I hit the wrong one.
Duck.
Flag.
And the award, Dune.
Yay!
Sandworm.
And yeah, I mean, I think just going back, I mean, it's what I said. I mean, it's the world building. It's helping create this authentic world. The noise of the what are they called, the omnithoppers or whatever.
Yeah, the
You
helicopter
know,
things.
yeah. Just stuff like that doesn't exist there. They have to create a sound. Um, I think they just did a really it. They made this world feel authentic, and that's the biggest takeaway I had from that movie. Is it felt like one of the best cases of authentic world building that I've
Mhm.
seen.
I mean, yeah, like yeah, every big sound in this movie works really well, but every subtle little sound, just to like people running on sand, um, is like noticeable. Like how cool of a fucking sound. I don't know. Like there are so many things that go into this movie sound design wise. It's almost hard to list them all. Um, to me, this is. I think I said it to you last night, Rob. This is like the equivalent of like the Dark Knight when it comes to like achievement in sound design, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, I agree.
Um, it's you're not gonna find its equal.
And that's why I won the award.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
Yeah,
don't have to.
I
I wish
agree.
I had more to say.
I think the scale of stuff like this, um, it's it's hard. It's a fucking. It's probably. I mean, there's a lot of hard jobs with like when you're making a movie, like what can break the immersion, but sound is like one of the most like overlooked parts of that, and it's really hard to capture like certain sounds in a way that feels real.
Yeah, you almost shouldn't be able to notice how good it is.
Yeah, which I think Dune it really is that way. It wasn't until I really thought about it that I thought like I realized how good it was.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Any more thoughts?
This movie's fucking awesome and it sounds great.
yeah,
I
yep.
still have to see both parts.
That's what this podcast is for, Jim.
That's true. One day we'll get there. Our next category, now a little bit different here. We have best score, not sound, the score. We have Challengers first nomination, Conclave, Dune, The Count of Monte Cristo, and The Brutalists. The Brutalists
So
just one, not multiple.
yeah, this is where I don't know about you, Christian. This is where I found they got this. These
We
choices got really
we had a
difficult.
hard time with this one.
Yeah, this is if one of if not the hardest, it's one of the two hardest categories to pick. Um, I would argue all five of these are some of the best scores I've heard ever, not just this year.
Yep. Yep. I'm gonna have to agree.
So starting off left to right, I mean, Challengers is I would say Challengers blends into the movie the most out of these five. Well, arguably, arguably, um, but it's so effective at conveying the pace of the story and like keeping up the emotion scene to scene because that movie has a lot of momentum and the score reflects that. It's great, and it's Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, I believe,
Yes.
and it's really good. Next, Conclave on a similar note, also very good at establishing mood and tension and just a vibe.
Aura. Yeah.
Or yeah, in the movie and setting a tone. I think it, and it at the same time, it's like for me, it was like there was an earworm kind of feeling to it where every time I heard certain things and like certain um, parts of the score, it like would um, evoke something in me, you know. Um, so really strong as well. Dune 2, just Hans Zimmer's like one, like the maybe the best to ever do it. I don't know. On top of the first one, this is just this is a continuation of the work he did on the first one. It's
Mm.
he's creating similar to
Is he
like
is he done?
done what?
He's retired, right?
Oh, I don't know.
I
I
thought
didn't
maybe
think he
he.
was retired. Oh,
I
maybe
thought I had
he could
maybe I
be.
don't know. I don't want to say that
Um,
and not be able to back it up.
yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear that, but it
He's
could
getting
be.
old as shit, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
But just the he. So his whole thing, he's kind of ideology with this movie was he wanted to almost invent music that he felt you couldn't hear anywhere on
On
earth.
Earth,
Like he
yeah.
wanted to create like kind of like we talked about earlier with the costumes, like create this thing that's familiar yet it's futuristic. And I think he did a great job at that. Um utilizing like the anthropology aspect of stuff, like certain music with certain people, but it doesn't really fit the box. It doesn't fit in the box you're kind of feeling like it should fit in, I guess.
Right.
The next two are similar to me, the Count of Monte Cristo and the Brutalist, in that they are sort of these epic scores, and there's they have this quality of like it kind of like makes it feels ambitious and it makes you feel the scale of the story. but also it sticks in your head. You know, it very much sticks in your head, and it's so like um, it's such a there are such good pieces of um, music even without the movie um, that I think they just both of them work great. Um, so all five good scores. This was really really hard. I think even now I'm conflicted on this, but we did pick a winner. So
It took collaboration to get to one, I think, because
yeah,
we were both a little stuck.
yeah. And honestly, it's not like the type of thing where I'm like going back and forth between one or two. It's literally like I keep switching one to one to one to one. Like I keep switching to each one in my head. But I do think in the end we came on the right one that kind of does everything well, you
I
know?
think so too. Jimmy, what did you say it was?
Conclave.
Oh,
That's my guess.
Okay.
I'm gonna be very
is that your
disappointed
final
if
answer?
yes, I am sticking. I will never
Are you
betray my
sure?
former self.
You're
Yes,
sure? Okay.
yes, yes. And the award. Conclave, let's
Yeah.
go!
Jimmy,
Yeah!
I'm proud of you. Congratulations.
The
Let's
fucking picture.
go!
You did
We did
It's
it,
my favorite.
boys.
It's my favorite screen grab ever.
it.
We did it. I thought to myself, best sound, best other thing. I thought Doom was gonna go back to back.
And the award
I
for
mean, it
best
probably
other
could have.
thing.
I think so to separate them sound and score
There you
while
go.
they kind of go hand in hand, they're I, Christian said it best yesterday. I don't know if you remember exactly how you put it, but score kind of does something to us. Like it establishes not just that it's pleasant music to hear, which is part of it. It does establish like tone and pace, and I think that's why we ended up on Conclave. It does that so well, and it blends into the movie when it needs to, and it stands out when it needs to. And I
It's
think,
used effectively and not just continuously.
yeah, yeah,
Um, Also really good with this one more than the others for me. Um, and highlight some of the emotional experiences of the characters in this movie.
yeah, and complement the performances
Yeah.
and
Also,
cinematography.
yeah. Also, again, adding to that grandiose feeling of that the environment allows us to feel. Um, Also, I mean, to put it simply, what gives this the edge for me is this is the only one I listen to in the car. um,
See, I feel like all of them I could do that. You know,
no, yeah, this just
it
happens to be the
really
one that
was
I
a hard
actually
one.
do.
Yeah, it really was a hard one to pick. But I think for me, what put it over the edge was that this one kind of does everything well. It does
So
everything a
the
good
interesting
score
thing,
should do.
sorry,
No, no, yeah,
um,
that was all.
the
Just it
interesting
does
thing
everything.
about us voting for this one is that we had an initial sure thing vote for this, but it turns out that what we were going to vote for had an affair with a young woman in Africa about 20 years ago. Um, and you would think that that would be the most complicated part of the story, but you'd be dead wrong.
Yeah, you'd be dead wrong. There's a lot of backdoor dealings going on with some of these other nominees here. Jim doesn't understand. He doesn't
I'm
understand.
very
That's an
confused.
inside.
I'm so tapped out that I'm in. You know what I mean?
Well, Jim, this is also, thank Conclave for your first correct guess.
Yeah, facts.
Get me out of here.
And I guess since we did sound real quick, and score, we do not have Wicked or Amelia Perez on here.
They're just not for us.
Um,
That's all that it
they're
is.
um, Wicked. I agree. I think Wicked is um, fine, but I didn't really feel like it was anything like that. You know, transcending. You know, Amelia Perez, I thought specifically the music was terrible. So that's
Yeah, I did not.
personal
This is,
taste. I just didn't want it.
if
Didn't
you don't
I didn't
see the
like.
movie you're gunning for on here, two things. One, that doesn't mean that your movie isn't good. And
Yes,
two,
it does.
we don't care.
I do care. You're wrong.
I don't care what you think. I don't care if
Argue
you're
with
upset.
me in the comments.
Yeah. I just hate
I will
women.
be
That's why I
there
didn't want
waiting.
it on there.
That's so. No, I'm just, no. I was gonna say so true, but no.
Yeah. Sorry. So are we? We're good to keep it pushing.
Yeah, we can move
Okay.
on. Yep.
Moving on from Conclave.
Moving on. Our next category here, we have best editing. Here are the nominees: Nickel Boys, Challengers, Dune 2, Conclave, and The Brutalists. Has Conclave gotten its like sixth nod?
Yeah, it has a
You guys
lot.
really like that
You can
movie,
tell
huh?
we have preferences. I mean, the Brutalist has a lot too.
That's
Dune
I
has a
true.
mean,
lot.
Challengers
Yeah,
and
they
Dude
have.
are also up here a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nickel Boys. This is the first, and I'm gonna go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. It is the only Nickel Boys. But the editing was good. I thought it was good. Yeah,
Pretty good.
I thought it was
Pretty good.
very good. Very
Pretty
good.
good. Pretty good.
Because they in that movie they play a lot with perspective and specifically certain scenes. I think the editing was um, it elevated the movie. Even though I don't necessarily love that movie as much as some people did, it was very good, and I think its strength was the editing and some of the playing with perspective. um, the other four, I think, were a lot closer. Um, Challengers in general is really dynamic in its pace, and um, the editing reflects that. Dune, I think there are just it tells a story really well, but also there are scenes where it's pretty. Let me think. I guess it's pretty creative in how it conveys certain scenes. Conclave and the Brutalist, I think, were just very efficient. There are big. The Brutalist has a lot of cool highlights as far as um, ambitious editing and Conclave. But Conclave, I think, was very, very, very efficient, and
Yes.
its cuts are all very purposeful. Um, but I think me and Christian um, do have a surefire winner. I don't necessarily think this one was that hard. I think
No,
we,
this was an
yeah,
easier one for me as well.
I
We had,
I
I mean,
think
there
so.
there was quite a bit of discussion around this one, but it wasn't hard for us to come to a consensus.
Yeah. Who's your pick, Jim? Who do you
I'm,
think?
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say Nickel Boys, just because I think a nice one shot wonder here would be a very good bit for the award show because it really just proves that anybody could win. It's not just the same 4 or 5 movies that clean sweeps everything. Because I prefer telling a good narrative over anything.
Bro, are you hating? Are you hating on our picks? Come on,
No,
man.
no, 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 no. That's not supposed to be. I was trying to
But
jab
no,
at
no,
you.
no, I think I think you're right. I think it would be
Good underdog
cute.
story.
It would be a good underdog story. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um, I
let's
think it's time.
let's
Yeah, I
find
think it's
out.
time.
And the award goes to Challengers.
Yeah.
I was close.
You were close.
I was in the
So
ballpark.
I think again, I think the challengers is the editing is so good. It's kind of in its own class. I felt
Yep.
like it because the movie is the pace is so dynamic and the editing is so um, it's purposeful, dynamic. It keeps up tension. It keeps up all that's all that stuff. I think it's just masterful in how they put the story together, and it's kind of told out of order and in a way like it's not chronological. So all that stuff kind of came together, and it felt like this was really obvious for me.
Yep.
Um, it's the thing I remember the most from that movie.
For my piece, I just wanted to add on the scenes that take place on the court is to me like next level editing. Um, like the actual tennis shots in this are like a master class in how to edit such a rapid pace sport like that. I
Yeah,
guess
I
that's
agree.
really all I could add to this. But every single like shot to shot transition is done so well.
I mean, I'm not like a big tennis guy, but this movie made tennis more exciting than I've ever seen it before. Like, and I think that's a lot of it's direction, but a lot of it's editing too. Um, because like I've watched tennis, like real tennis matches, and they were not as good as challengers.
Did you
Like challengers was way better.
did you ever see Borg versus McEnroe?
No.
Oh, okay. That's also another really good tennis movie, actually. So 2017 it was pretty good.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll watch that.
It's Shia LaBeouf and Stellan Skarsgård, I think, are in it.
Oh, I've heard of that actually.
It was pretty
I've heard of
good.
that. Yeah, yeah, I'll have to watch that.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, editing. I think editing again. It's kind of like sometimes it's like sound and like score, where sometimes it's better if you don't notice it.
To the
Um,
people who haven't seen this movie, also, this movie is not about tennis.
I
I mean,
disagree.
it is. It is.
It's
But
very much about tennis, but about it's also about
there's a lot more to it than
yeah,
just being
yeah,
a tennis
yeah,
movie.
yeah,
So if
yeah,
you're going
yeah,
in expecting like a sports movie, be aware. There's a lot
yeah,
going on in this movie.
in a good way.
Depending on who you are, probably, yeah.
What if you're Tom Holland?
Mm, maybe in a great way. I mean, there's
I
Con
mean,
depends.
confirmed.
his girlfriend is a very successful movie star.
Yeah, it's
Who,
true. He
yeah,
probably got, it's probably fun. Well, I guess that maybe made a lot of money.
yeah.
Probably funding some stuff.
He likes to see
Anyway.
his significant other succeed in life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Should we move on?
Yes,
Yeah,
probably to
yeah, I
one of
think
the
so.
most contentious awards.
Let's go. I'm excited now. Which is
So, oh yeah, go ahead.
the best supporting actress. The nominations are Rebecca Ferguson in Dune, Felicity Jones in The Brutalist, Margaret Qualley in The Substance, Danielle Deadweiler, I probably botched that, in The Piano Lesson, Saoirse Ronan in Blitz.
So,
You got Sorcy, but not Deadweiler.
I don't know.
um, you said it's contentious, and I think it was a tough decision. That there were tears, there was lots of tears, there
There
was
was
lots of
piss.
yes, yes. But
There,
at the
there was
same time,
fighting.
I do think if there's a weak category, best supporting actress, this was a pretty weak year for that. Not as far as the top of the line, but as far as how many options. Like when I look at all the options we could have put in here, I when we got to like I don't know, outside of these 5, I didn't feel there were a lot that, like, we missed out on, you know? Like, I felt like it was it was tough. I mean, you could say like Ariana Grande, stuff like some people like that, and but ultimately, I felt like there were two, maybe three, that were elevated to the point where I thought they were a lot better than the field.
Yeah, but it deciding between those few
Yeah, and
was
that's where we had.
tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was hard. Um, there was blood, there were tears, and in the end, there were hugs. I must say, there
I
were there were hugs.
believe Robbie bit me at one point, which is it's all in the spirit. It's all in the spirit of
um,
civilized discourse. So it was
I
but yeah.
I almost don't want to even go through like I
I
don't know.
feel the same way.
I think like for a lot of the time with like I guess real like I don't even know what to say. All right.
Jim, who do you think it's gonna be?
Margaret
Yeah, I think
Qualley.
I think okay.
And I got it.
Okay.
I know I
That's
got
a
it
good.
right.
That's a good guess.
I know I
I think
got
it's
it right.
better to reveal it and then we'll talk about,
Yep.
the different
All right.
points.
Let's see it. Sorry. And the award.
Someone fire that drummer.
God damn it. I was wrong again. Rebecca Ferguson.
Yay!
Yay. All right. So the reason full disclosure, I felt strongly that Rebecca Ferguson should be this winner. The reason I felt that way is a couple points. One, I think despite being a side character, her role is so vital to the movie um, working and she's so good as the character um, that I just didn't really feel like there were other good performances. Like all five of these were good performances, but I felt like she was almost like a. It felt like this might seem like I'm overstating it, but I don't know. This is to me. This is how I feel as a reader of the book, and I had a perception of who Lady Jessica as a character is. Um, and when the adaptation was coming out, and I kind of felt like, how are they going to do this? You know, I like Rebecca Ferguson. I don't think before Dune I knew for her from like Mission Impossible and stuff,
Yeah.
and she was okay. I didn't know whether she would like nail it or not. I think I was surprised at how much she nailed it and how much depth there was to the performance in the character. To me, it felt like equivalent. Like I cannot separate her from Lady Jessica. Like that character is her now for me. Like that's how good that performance was. Like I in my mind, like when I was thinking about these, it felt like I was looking at like James Earl Jones as Darth Vader, and then like four, like just good dramatic performances. Like that's how it felt. So again, maybe I'm overstating it. But again, it's just me. It's me. I don't know. That's how I
No,
felt.
I mean,
I'm not going to apologize for it. That's how I
nor
felt.
nor should you, because you know what you did is I was not initially convinced of the winner for this one, but you really did win me over with the Lady Jessica's synonymous with Rebecca Ferguson argument, um, and I think that is the perfect argument for why she did win. Like there were some other strong contenders for this that I felt strongly about, but at the end of the day, I think you're right. They didn't have as much impact on the identity of the story, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. And I think we should. I mean, Margaret Qualley was good. I think um, she. It felt like to me, it felt like she was more the backbone of that movie, even than Demi Moore, as good as Demi Moore was. Uh, and I was surprised to see like how little screen time she actually has, and that's how good she was. Danielle Deadweiler is a similar situation. She almost feels like a lead, despite not being technically a lead. and Saoirse Ronan, very good in limited time. She's very definitively not a lead in that movie. It follows her son, but he kind of brings a heart to that movie. But all of them are behind the top two, which is where the contention was. I mean,
Yes.
number two was Felicity Jones, and she is very good in that movie. And maybe you want to talk about it a little bit. Just like I think,
I
yeah,
really think the presence of I'll say it like this: Felicity Jones adds something to the presence of this character, which is already a very awkward, tension-filled, um, emotional presence. Just as the character is written, it does present one of the two major tonal shifts in this movie, um, as I identified them. Which I don't want to get into like spoilers for this, if that's okay,
yeah,
because I do want to urge people to see the movies they haven't seen yet. Um, but I feel like Felicity Jones in this role furthers that ambition. And I think she does it in a way that not many people could have done as well. I think she just inherently understands what this character is, and I think she captured it in such a way that's very unique. Granted, Rebecca Ferguson, um, like you said, almost contributes to like I'm stuck on the word. I'm missing the word. Rebecca Ferguson does contribute to the identity of the movie more than Felicity Jones contributes to the identity to the movie, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, her character is so important to the themes of like. Um, Now I'm stuck on the word.
sorry.
No, um, basically how these ideas kind of infiltrate Paul, and like the ambition infiltrate. Her character so vital to all that and portraying that,
I
and
think
sh there's a duality to her from the first where she's an pretty innocent mother to now she's this like scheming, um, pretty like evil presence.
right, yeah.
So some
It's
good
a
acting.
character with she really add depth to the performance.
Yeah,
Um, I think on any given day, you and I could go back and forth on this one forever.
yeah,
Uh,
I agree.
which to me is a sign of the strength of both of these women
Yeah,
as
yeah,
actresses. But
definitely.
yeah, no,
Yeah, because
and
they were
kudos to
both
Rebecca Ferguson.
Felicity. Yeah, Felicity Jones. Just to put a bow on it, like I think her most important scene in the movie, to her credit, is also the most important scene in that movie. Not to spoil anything, but there's a big scene towards the end of the movie where she kind of takes on a lot, and she is convincing as in a scene that's challenging to make convincing, I guess I'll
Yeah,
say.
when you find out she's Luke Skywalker's father,
Yes, exactly.
it's
Yep.
and that she sees dead people.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
think I'm ready on them. I think that's
I just I
yeah.
but I didn't see the twist coming that Rebecca Ferguson was Kaiser Soze the whole time either. So like it goes back and forth. Oh wait, hold on, let me write that down. That's the movie Jimmy needs to see. But I can't say the name of it. All right,
All right. Well, while
proceed.
you're writing
I'm
them
ready.
down, I will be
I'm ready. Yeah.
announcing the next category. We just did best supporting actress, so it's only fair that we do best supporting actor. So we got Ray Fisher in The Piano Lesson, Dave Bautista in The Last Showgirl, Guy Pearce in The Brutalist.
That's crazy because I know he knows how to say that name. He knows that guy. He knows
He's
Bautista,
filming.
Uri Borislav in
you
Honora,
do a wrestling podcast.
Clarence McLean in Sing Sing, Edward Norton. Let's go. Edward Norton's winning this. Um, for a complete unknown, and then Ty Sheridan in The Order.
Sheridan.
There you go. Well, I had to mess up one.
So this is the only category we had to expand because I think we agreed it felt wrong to leave any of these guys off. Um, and yeah, I just think this was an especially strong category for whatever reason. Even though I really was resistant to leave the five nominee format, but
I
originally, but
I agree, but I think to leave anyone off of this one is would be wrong.
yeah, yeah, I
You'd
Because
agree.
die a thousand deaths.
I mean,
uh, for the most part, like I agreed. Like we agreed that we should stick to the five nominees, um, except for well, I guess like with special exceptions, and this year called for special exceptions.
yeah,
Um, because
to
all of them are I don't know, like just like what an amazing spread of talent.
yeah,
Which is
and
weird
they're
because
so
some years
varied.
I don't give a shit about the best supporting actor award. I just couldn't
Yeah,
care less. But this year was not the case.
yeah, it was a strong year.
It
Um,
goes hand in hand with best supporting actress. It just happens that one is weak this year and one's not.
and I think there's a good variety in that some of these guys are very important to the plot. In that they're like almost they're not really they're not a lead. They're definitively not a lead, but their importance to the story is central. Um, versus there's other guys that are true side characters, true supporting. Um, so like some of them are Ray Fisher, Dave Bautista, Ty Sheridan. I think Ed Norton are all true supporting characters. Um, even your
Borisov.
Borisov, I think to an extent is a true. Although he becomes important, it's
Some of these characters inhabit a bigger space.
Pierce and Macklin are more central to their movies, but I think it's important for supporting like whatever your role is, make the best of it. And I think like Ray Fisher, I was shocked with. Ty Sheridan, I was shocked with. Dave Bautista, I love, but he took me by surprise. And then Norton, Macklin, Borisov, and Pierce were just all, you know, all very, very good.
I
Like
mean,
very strong
if you didn't leave the
performances.
movie theater feelings affected by Guy Pearce's performance in one way or another, I doubt you were awake.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, so as far as that, I mean, that's all I have to say about them. They were all great performances. This was a strong year.
I think in our decision making, everyone on this list of nominees at one point had the award before we finally settled on
Yeah,
something.
yeah, it's true. This was also a hard one.
I
It
think
really
this might
could
have
go
been
a
our.
lot of different ways.
I think this might have been the hardest.
I almost agree, but I still think score and I think actor will end up being hard also. Um, but this was very hard. I mean, this was a stacked category. So
Yeah. Um, I think. Um, I don't want to go down the list and try to like
yeah, I
say
mean,
what you
they're
just
all.
said.
I think
Yeah,
just yeah, they were all good. I mean, in one way or another. Honestly, their performances speak for themselves a lot of the time. Um, you know, I would say watch all these movies
I would
just for
too.
these performances.
There's
You
not.
know.
Yeah. Last Showgirl, though, I will say Dave Bautista was the one that kind of took me by surprise the most. I think, like you said, um, and not to. I think I just kind of had underestimated that movie as a whole.
Yeah, I know what you mean because I'm a fan of his, but even I was like, it was like a gear I don't know that I expected from him
Ty
almost.
Sheridan was another sleeper on this for me that I didn't expect to walk out of that impacted by his performance. But I
Yeah,
honestly, that movie as a whole,
yeah,
um, which you could say about a lot of movies this year, like you just didn't see the quality of these movies coming. Um, which I'll get into later as we talk about some of the other awards. But Not everything had the exposure that the Brutalist and Nora and a Complete Unknown had, where walking in that you're probably gonna get a good movie.
Yeah,
The rest were kind of gambles because there wasn't just a whole lot out there about them until you watch them. And the best supporting actor and the nominees here really are reflective of their movies as a whole in that
yeah,
regard.
I
I don't know.
agree.
That's all I would really say.
So we get in here and give Edward Norton his flowers.
Let's do
I'm
Deserves
it.
the
ready.
win. All right, and the award goes to Yura Borisov.
The one Jimmy can't say.
I can't. How is it? Boris?
Um,
Borisov?
no, you got it right. Actually, that
Oh, okay, good.
time. So again, yeah, like you said, this was hard. I just think his one, it was shocking. Two, um, he does a good job of it's comedic, it's dramatic. He brings like an innocence and um
This
he
guy's
brings
got
like a little bit,
range.
yeah, he brings a range to the character that like at first it's partially the structure of the character. Like he starts off you think he's almost like a background of a background character, but he ends up being more important than that, and he kind of steals scenes and like he just stands out. And it's not anything I expected, and he helps sell the most important part of the movie. I'll just say that. Um, and a few of the most important parts of the movie, and the most important, um,
I
I
also
guess,
really like.
themes of the movie. I would say.
Yeah. I also really like that. I was given the opportunity to see this guy act because he's a Russian actor in Russian films.
Yeah,
So it's always like I always appreciate finding new talent that you haven't seen before, um, um, and like a new actor that you haven't seen before, and what they can bring to the table. And as my introduction to this actor, I was like really fucking impressed, and I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing him in more shit.
yeah, and I honestly like. I feel like when I saw the movie, I didn't like. I knew going in. Mikey Madison was like getting talk buzz. He wasn't really mentioned. So like another aspect of it was like when I went to see the movie, I didn't expect
Yeah,
to love
he wasn't
him
the
as
getting them
much.
in the seats.
Yeah, and he ended up being like one of the, you know, like the best parts of the movie. So
Yeah,
just a good character performance, and think it's a balance of what you ask for when you say supporting actor. It's a character actor, someone who's important to the plot, but then also just someone who embodies a character, and I think he does all those things. And I mean, all these guys do to an extent, but I think we had to settle on someone, and I think he had the most at to bring it to the table. I think,
yeah.
so to speak.
That's not to say we settled, but
No, no, I
we had to
felt
make a decision.
confident
Yeah,
that I did feel confident that I think he was
this
the
this
best.
sits right with me. Yes.
Yeah.
Look at him holding that stupid fucking award. I love it so much. It makes me laugh every time.
Any other words?
Nope.
Congratulations, Jura. All right. Here's an award that you can really wrap your mind around. Best cinematography. We got Nora, Conclave, Dune 2, Nosferatu, and The Brutalist.
Oh, can I begin? Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Oh, go ahead.
Mine's very short. Um, all five of these movies will take you to fucking school about how to shoot a motion picture. That being said, I was not budging on this one, and it was a very, very easy decision for me to decide by a long shot. Um, Robbie, if you have anything to add,
I think you nailed it. I mean, I think it's just credit to all the movies, but I think I was pretty set also on.
yeah,
Um, I almost gave it away. I got close, but um, there were a couple I was entertaining, but ultimately I think I knew, and I was glad you felt strongly because I kind of felt that way anyway, and it helped me kind of like make the decision
yeah.
easier. And but there were a couple I was entertaining, and I think I wouldn't be upset like if if somebody said like, "Oh, but this is the best," or "This is the best," and I would be like, "Okay, yeah." I mean, I could see that, but I think there's one that um,
I
it
actually,
elevates to all time levels of um, greatness at cinematography specifically, and um, it's unlike anything I've seen before.
um, Jim, do you have a prediction?
Conclave.
Interesting.
Well, I figured um, set and sound have a lot to do with a way something is presented, like it's
Right.
purposeful. So I don't know if it necessarily like two elements of a story add up to to cinematography, but it's got the
So
building
That's
far,
blocks.
not. I'm not gonna lie. That's not a terrible
yeah.
reasoning.
I was gonna say I'm with you
Um,
on that.
yeah, that's not terrible. That's not, a pretty good thought process, honestly.
I will
You
say
just
before
gotta
we
say
give it away,
guess.
I think this is the only one we will have in common with the actual Oscars.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think so too.
Okay. Well, let's find out what it is. Drum roll. The brutalist.
Yeah, I think like I said to Christian when we were talking about
Fucking
this,
statues upside down.
I could have went Conclave. I think Honora is underrated cinematography. Nosferatu is very much you could take a shot from that movie and it would like put it up as a painting and it would work. You know, it's like that kind of movie. And then Dune again transports you to the world. It is shot beautifully, but none of them ultimately I think hold a candle to
No.
the way the out of the box way that the brutalist decides to shoot this movie, and it's really effective. It's beautiful. It's
I,
large and ambitious when it needs to be large and ambitious, and it's close and personal when it needs to be close and personal.
I
And
think this is
yeah,
not to no hyperbole intended. This is the greatest cinematography accomplishment of all time in my mind. I don't think there is anything that comes remotely close to this for me and my tastes.
I
Um,
don't co-sign that, but I'm not necessarily uh like I
you can
don't
see where I'm
necessarily feel
coming
like you're
from.
wrong. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
and it just
So I mean
resonated
that's
with
part
me.
yeah.
Like again, looking at this shot, I mean, I know it's just a still, but in context of the scene it's in, and in the context of the cinematography, from this moment to the credits, I was just uh, uh, of all the things going on in this movie, and I'm still concentrating on the cinematography of every shot. Um, I don't know. It was just like an otherworldly, like out of body experience for me that I haven't really gotten from a lot of movies in regards to cinematography. But this was just a standout for me. Um,
Yeah. It tells a story with more than the dialogue and the script and the acting. It tells a story with the camera, and that's what the best cinematography does. Um,
and if you're looking for
yeah.
like a happy-go-lucky, easy-going movie, this is the one you should probably see this year.
Oh yeah, definitely. See this with your mom.
Hmm.
See it with your dad.
Yeah, fuck it.
Whole family. Um, any more thoughts?
Nope.
All right, moving forward here. Best adapted screenplay. We have The Piano Lesson, Sing Sing, Dune 2, The Count of Monte Cristo, and Conclave.
So, four of these are books. One is not. There, or I'm sorry, three of them are books. One is a play. Or no, I'm sorry, three of them are books. Two are plays.
Yep,
Or
there you go.
no, not really. Three of them are books. One is a play. One is about a play company, a theater. Um, so just I think as far as the ones that are adapted from novels, there's two. There's one. I mean, I haven't read the novel Conclave, um, but from what I understand, it's kind of like easy reading, or it's not. It's not like it's not like I don't know. I could be wrong, but I've heard it's like not like dense literature. So I think Conclave the movie elevates what is kind of a it's a great story, but it almost speaks for like the story. When you think about it, is um, structured in sort of simple terms, but it's also a complex um, like political drama, like I said. So it's very interesting just how that story came together, and I think the movie elevates it. Um,
Yep.
and it comes through in the screenplay. It's structured really well. Count of
Yeah.
Monte Cristo and Dune adapt books that are well known, and I think they both adapt them almost perfectly. Um, and then the piano lesson is based on an August Wilson play. I've not seen the play, but the screenplay in the movie is very good. I found it compelling, and I just like like we were talking about earlier, the rhythm of the fights. I like the rhythm of August Wilson dialogue.
Mhm.
Um, and then Sing Sing I thought was really powerful. Um, just a really powerful story.
I think what really the main focus for all of these is that it takes a lot of effort to make a screenplay from an existing piece of text. It's not just a one for one translation. Um, it takes creativity. It takes like a tremendous amount of critical thinking. It takes a tremendous amount of storytelling ability and skill. It's not just look. I'll take all the words from what they said in the book or the play, and boom, I have my script. It's a lot more going into that because it is ultimately like a different medium, a different way to tell that story, and you have to think about how am I going to tell that story as a film as opposed to a play or a book. What can I keep in? What can I take out? What can I build on? What themes can I pull out of this? Like, how am I going to elicit the same emotion in the book in this film for my audience? Um, and all five of these movies do that really fucking well.
I agree. I concur on that.
Yes. And
Because this is kind of an Oscar that gets lost in the shuffle a lot of the times, which I don't
It
think it
does. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I'm kind of conflicted. I don't know who I want to pick.
should.
Do I? You know
Try
what?
deciding.
I think I'm gonna go with Dune here because
Not a bad guess. Not a bad
it's
guess.
a big book.
It is. They split it in two. They split it in two.
Like a Harry
It's
Potter.
four books.
Um all right, here we go with the award for best adapted screenplay. The Lupo goes to Sing Sing.
Yay! Bum 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 bum.
So I was surprised we agreed on this because this was also my pick. But I didn't. I kind of expected us to not line up. So it was a pleasant surprise. We actually agreed on this one. Um, I just thought it was a really powerful story. The themes it tackles and the content it tackles are really interesting. And it treats its characters um, in a way that resonated with me as far as like how they look at their identities, I guess. All that stuff just sat with me, and it. I think it's good material can sometimes breed great performances, and I think that's a case of this movie. Is the actors had good material, and they took it and ran with it and elevated the material. So it's a great screenplay.
Yeah, no, I couldn't say it any better myself. This was, yeah, what you said. I'm kind of,
Yeah.
I don't have anything to add to that.
Um, I guess off topic before we continue, I just want to say Count of Monte Cristo. It didn't win, but it's a foreign film, so I don't know how many people really saw it. It's a
It's
really
pretty
good
good.
movie, and it's 3 hours long, so it's also intimidating in that
Yeah.
way. But it's really good. I think people should check that out. So just saying that. But yeah, Sing Sing was fantastic. I think for me it was as good as all the adaptations were. This was like the one I felt the strongest that the screenplay was um, jumping out at me. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, good.
All right.
Uh, our next
Before
category is going to be temporary delay because you were saying
I was gonna say, Jim, before we move on, we've been doing this for like 2 hours. Do you want to pick it up later, or do you want to keep going?
I'm
Because
actually
we have like five.
so glad that you asked because I didn't want to be that person, and this will be kept on
Yeah.
the pod. I will be checking the editing. I, full disclosure, hands up, I did fall asleep at one point.
Yeah, it's almost 11:30. That's why I just wanted to.
Yeah,
Yeah. I am
I'm okay
perfectly
with picking
fine
it up
with
later.
stopping this recording because
Yeah,
I will be falling asleep.
that's
The
fine.
second
I think
we leave this Discord
it's
call. And the best original screenplay. The nominees are Heretic, Challengers, Nora, A Real Pain. That is their first nomination of the show, and The Brutalist. Those are the nominees. And the Lupo goes to. I'm clicking. A Real Pain.
yeah,
Yay!
yay, yay, yay.
Don't sound so enthusiastic.
Um, so Christian, you want to talk about this one because this was I agreed with you, but I think I it was closer for me than it was for you.
Right. So, this is actually one of my favorite awards to give out, just because you get to really look at some originality in a lot of these scripts where, Hollywood can be very homogenous with some of the movies it rolls out every year, but then you get like some real winners that are like, I don't know, they break the mold. They're not a typical story. And for me, A Real Pain was an easy choice, because I thought that's the strength of this movie is the writing. It's got character. It's very human. It's very humorous. It's also very dramatic. Um, all while telling the story in a very unique way.
Yeah, I agree. I think once we talked about it, I kind of ended up feeling the same way. Um, I thought like their cousins, the familial dynamic was kind of fascinating, and we didn't talk about Kieran Culkin with Best Supporting Actor, but the reason he wasn't in that for me was I almost felt like he was the lead of the movie because his character is really fascinating and the arc he goes on is really fascinating to me. So yeah, I mean, this was a really good screenplay. As far as like what was close for me, I mean, I thought Heretic was really close. Um, to me, the strength of that movie also is the screenplay. It deals with really interesting themes, and then you have The Brutalist, Nora, and Challengers, which are also all really good. So,
I agree.
but yeah, A Real Pain definitely the winner.
I think this where this shines is it's there is a nice plot, but it's a very character driven writing, which I think is what gives it the edge.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
All right, and let's go to our next award here. Best Director. We're starting to get into the heavy hitters now. The
Yeah,
nominees.
these were hard.
Yeah, for Best Director. I can't wait to get these names wrong. Brady Corbett for The Brutalist. Robert Eggers for Nosferatu. Dennis Villanueva for Dune 2. Is it Denise? Is it Denise?
Denise. Go ahead.
Edward Berger for Conclave. And Luca Guadagnino for Challengers.
That was an impressive try. That last one.
Anyway, and the award goes to Edward Berger for Conclave.
This is Edward Berger's
Yay.
first Lupo win.
Yeah, so Edward Berger, me and Christian are big Burger Bros. So
Berger Pops.
his style is just really like up my alley. Like I love like he shoots a lot of
Movie
the camera
skills.
work is very static and like unmoving, and it's almost like like a painting each frame. But then at the same time, the way he edits the movies and the way they're acted and the score, all stuff we talked about, is really it can be intense, it can be dramatic. So um, to me, that style is really interesting, and I think um, what he does is he lets he doesn't necessarily get in the way of the story. He kind of elevates it. So I mean, some directors get a little too cute, and then they kind of sometimes get in the way of the story. So, like for example, and this is a movie I liked, and I liked some of the choices they made, and it's Nickel Boys.
Mm.
But at times, I felt like that movie was getting in its own way a little bit. In a way, Conclave didn't, but also all five of these movies, um, they allow the story to unfold, but they also elevated it with a lot of interesting um, just techniques. So,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
the only thing I
go
could
ahead.
maybe add to that is that I think when we were discussing who we were going to give this to, I made the argument of which director really did the best job at making a comprehensive um, realization of the story of the vision. And I, while I can't ignore that all the other movies, especially for me, The Brutalist and Nosferatu, really do that. This movie is just enhanced by how well everything works together, and that's on no small part due to the efforts of Berger. Uh, yeah, that's really
Yeah,
all I had.
and real quick on the other ones, like you said, The Brutalist. It's really ambitious, and it definitely deserves to be there. You know, Nosferatu. It's the thing about Nosferatu that's interesting is because it's an adaptation of an already existing movie. I felt like there's you could only fail doing stuff like that sometimes,
Mm.
it almost feels like, and he managed to bring something really exciting to it. And then Denis with Dune 2, it's a
Oh, it's
really fucking hard
Denis.
adaptation. Yeah, it's a really hard adaptation, and he managed to somehow wrangle it all together while also like elevating it. And then I just watched Challengers again. I think if there was a number two for me, it would be that movie. Um, just because of what Luca does with the camera. A lot of the camera movement is really ambitious, and I'm not a tennis guy at all. That tennis stuff is some of the like most exciting stuff I've seen in a movie like in a long time. Like every time I watch it, it's exciting, and I don't like tennis at all.
Not a big,
Really,
not a
yeah.
big King Richard fan.
Actually, I do like that movie, but I don't think the tennis is like exciting in that.
No.
Like, but yeah, with challengers, it's just like I genuinely think that is one of like maybe the five best sports movies of all time. Like that's how good I think. Just as the story aside, which the story is great in itself, but just the tennis stuff alone is so exciting, and there's so much you feel the stakes behind all the the matches.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah.
Actually,
So, but
it's a good category for another day is best sports movies.
yeah,
That
yeah,
we
it
could
is.
probably fill a whole pod talking about that.
Yeah.
Conclave.
I like
Cinque vote.
I like I forget. Anyway, next category.
Can't think of a sports movie.
Well, I forget what it was called. The Jake Gyllenhaal one where he like his like wife.
Southpaw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his wife dies and then his kid hates him. And then he's like,
Well,
I gotta become a better person.
I meant like Miracle, but
Ah, okay. Or like 24.
you
48,
mean
I'm sorry.
42?
There you go. Fuck. Anyway,
oh,
next
Fucking
oh
category. Our next
God.
42.
category
He is
today.
on a roll today, bro.
Our next category. Um, for Best Actress, the nominees are as follows: Mikey Madison in Nora, Zendaya in Challenger. She has a first name. What's her first
She
name?
does.
Moving on.
Oh, I need to know. Pamela
I don't
Anderson.
know what her first
Wow,
name is.
congratulations for Pamela Anderson getting a nominee in the year of our Lord 2025 for The Last Showgirl. Fernanda Torres in I'm Still Here, and then June Squibb in Thelma. The Lupo goes to. Dude, I'm clicking these fucking. The winner, Mikey Madison for Honora.
Let's go. Let's go. Um, so I don't know about you, Christian. I felt like this of all the awards, this one was the least competition. This was like the most obvious to me. What do
Yeah,
you think about that?
I I don't know if it was as obvious for me. Um, I really like a couple of these others. I think first of all, shout out to June Squibb.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
that was
definitely.
a late addition on our part.
Yeah,
But
and I think it was the right choice. The
I
right
did
choice.
too. My also like the other strong contender for me was as much as I did love Zendaya in Challengers, I thought Pamela Anderson in The Last Showgirl was a. I didn't think she was going to be that as good as she was, and she did kind of blew me away in that movie.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree. She was for me. She was definitely number two for me as well.
so this is the second movie I've seen Mikey Madison in. The first, obviously, being Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She had a smaller role in that movie,
Yeah,
uh, and I don't know. There's something alluring about the performances she does. That might not be the right word, but interesting. I was very interested to see where she was going to go after this,
yeah,
if anywhere, if I was going to see her again. And wow, I don't know. She's just a. I wish I had a better word. She's just really effective in this movie.
yeah. I thought in a weird way that movie reminded me of like Dustin Hoffman in like The Graduate or like Midnight Cowboy. It felt
Yeah,
like something about her performance. It felt like something like that. Like I was watching like someone young but really great at what they do.
doing like a
Uh,
really profound character study kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And there's so much like the story gives her so much to like pull from and dive into that, and she just did an awesome job. I really, it was this from the second I saw the movie, I felt like uh, she she was the best actress this year to me. Um, Zendaya, I'm not a huge fan of generally. Like even in Dune, I kind of
Okay.
am underwhelmed. But Challengers specifically, she surprised me. She was really good. It's almost like she like yeah, that's probably the best I've ever seen her in anything. Pamela Anderson, like you said, I thought she was great. Fernando Torres was good, and Jude Squibb was good. I thought they were all good. The one that's not here, excuse me, is Demi Moore.
Hmm.
Uh, so I felt like while she was good, almost like Kieran Culkin, where she's kind of a tweener. Like I didn't necessarily feel like she was the true lead of that movie. Um,
Stiff
and
competition.
yeah, and I felt like Margaret Qualley for me was the one where I came away and I was like, wow, she was great. So when the Demi Moore stuff came up, like where
Was
she
it
was
was it
getting
her
nominated a
acting?
lot, I would, but well, no, yeah, I mean, but she was also really good,
She
dude.
was.
Like, but so when Demi Moore started to win a lot, I was kind of surprised by that. Not, but I thought she was good also. Um, but it was just interesting. I didn't expect necessarily for her to be in the conversation like that. Um, so for me, I thought she was good, but she's not quite top five. Um, she's
Speaking of,
probably the sixth for me, just
Fernando,
outside.
we should probably mention Fernando Torres because we haven't yet. Um, that was a really good performance. I don't have a whole lot to say on it other than that she definitely deserves to be there on the list of nominees.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I agree. Mikey Madison has the edge here.
I'll just say real quick about her. It is a great performance, and I think she's. You could make an argument for three or four for me. Um, the thing working against her is, I think some part of the story is there's so much subtlety to her performance, and part of the story is almost like she's closing off her grief. And for me, it felt like it wasn't quite didn't put it it didn't hit me like the Mikey Madison performance did in the same way. Although she did awesome, as well. So yeah.
All right.
All right, let's go to this next category here. Buttons. There we go. Whoa! All right. Best actor. I accidentally went a little bit too far ahead, but thankfully I didn't see it. Best actor nominees. This is a major award here, and the nominees go as follows: Adrian Brody in The Brutalist, Ralph Fiennes in Conclave, Timothée Chalamet in A Complete Unknown, Sebastian Stan in A Different Man, and Coleman Domingo in Sing Sing. The Best Actor Award for the Lupo Awards 2025 is Coleman Domingo.
Yay,
Give it
yay,
up.
yay,
Give it up for Coleman.
yay,
Before
yay,
we
yay.
get too far into this, there's something I have to bring up real quick.
Okay.
Coleman Coleman Domingo just made his red carpet appearance for the Oscars, and I gotta say, one of the best suits I've seen in a very long time. That's it. That's all I
Oh,
want.
Describe
really? I didn't
describe it for
see
the people.
it.
I haven't
It's
yet.
it's really red and really long and pretty cool looking.
Nice.
Nice.
I'm not a fashion person, but it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it. Um, I think this for me was probably the hardest decision because I feel like literally all five guys I think in another year could be the winner.
Absolutely.
Like I think it's just this year was so stacked. Um,
Ray Fiennes
but yeah,
was a narrow pick between him and Coleman Domingo for me.
yeah,
But you convinced me otherwise. So if you want to speak on that a little bit.
yeah. So I when I saw Sing Sing is one of the last nominee type movies I saw. Um, when I went to see it, I expected to see a pretty good performance, but I didn't necessarily think I would be swayed. I felt strongly that all four of the other guys were so good. There's no way I could see a better performance than those. And I still didn't know which way I leaned. I probably leaned Ray Fiennes, but I liked Timmy's performance too. But When I saw Sing Sing, Coleman Domingo was so good, bro.
Yep.
And it's more than just like there's the with every like year when an award comes around, like a lot of the people are like it's like a flashy kind of like there's big moments and they play the clip and all that stuff. But for me, his performance was so much more than that. But while he does have those scenes, there was so much subtlety in what he did and the way he like expressed a lot of the um he found a way to express these really like complicated themes, and it's partially the screenplay too, but he has to perform it. So, I just felt like I felt like that was a really hard role,
I don't
honestly.
think
And
someone
I
else
felt,
would have done it better in his place.
yeah, I don't either. And I think when I came out of the movie, it felt like that movie was great because of Coleman Domingo, not Coleman Domingo was in a great movie. And
Um, yeah.
for all the four of the other guys, I almost felt like they were all in great movies and they were great, but I don't know.
No,
I just for him, I felt that
he shines.
it was so necessary. Yeah, he really does.
This is a little bit of a side comment, but hear me out. When they're casting for Magneto in the MCU,
That's crazy.
I
I
think
could see it.
fear Magneto, fear Coleman Domingo.
I could see that.
Yeah, I think it works.
He should have
That's
been Doctor Doom.
oh, that would have been
Let's
awesome.
just cast him as every cool character in anything. Yeah,
I could see
but
him doing a really good villain, as one
yeah.
way
Oh
or
yeah, I
another.
could. In the new Spider-Man cartoon, I don't know if you watch it. He's Norman Osborn.
Is he really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
he's pretty
I'm
good.
not up to date on is that freshman year?
Yeah, it just came out. So,
All
um,
right.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
yeah,
have
that's
he
much
was
more
good.
to say because I will just keep talking about this
I
award
mean,
for
realistically, for that one, I feel like it was so close. It's you know, we could have went anyway. All five of those were great.
so are we good?
Yep.
I'm ready.
All right, cool. The next category.
Before that,
Okay.
we want to take some time to recognize a bunch of movies.
Yeah. And these, this one I did not consult Christian on, but I hope some of these I did this really quick just because I felt like maybe,
If there's
but
something I want to add, I will.
yeah. So, of all the movies I saw this year that are really good, but they're not quite in that top five we had, um, I saw it's called The Bastard. It's also called The Promised Land in America. I think it's Danish. Stars Mads Mikkelsen. It's a period piece. It's really good. If anybody's out there, check it out. Especially if you like period pieces. The Order. Um, didn't hear a lot about it before I saw it, but it blew me away. It's definitely one of the best movies of the year. Dee Dee is really sweet, like heartwarming, but also like kind of uncomfortable. So it's a coming of age type story. So, and it's specifically it's like if you're like a 2000s kid, it
Mm,
will kind of hit you a little bit. And a real pain we talked about. Um, I don't think it quite made the top five for best picture, but like we talked about with the screenplay and Kieran Culkin's performance is really good. A lot there to like. Different Man, really wacky and kind of wild movie. It's so much fun.
very
Sing
different.
Sing, Sing Sing we talked about. That hit me really hard. Um, Kneecap was interesting. Very good music in that movie. I thought for a movie made by like musicians, like it was written by a rap group, it should have been way worse, and it was awesome. So props for that. Heretic, uh, just great. Hugh Grant. I thought the screenplay was great. Um, Complete Unknown. I was also shocked by that. We've gotten a lot of biopics, especially music biopics recently. I was kind of tuned out when I saw that. I thought it was just so well executed that it was just one of the better movies I saw this year. Nosferatu just feels like a classic horror, um, a modern retelling of a classic horror. There's so much there. Eggers is like one of the best directors alive. Um, and then finally, The Count of Monte Cristo, one of the last movies I saw. It's 3 hours foreign, so there's subtitles, but it was one of the most like riveting and exciting movies that I saw all year. I think as an adaptation, it's really impressive. So that's it.
I will add two. I will just only add two. Um, War of the Rohirrim is a very, very beautiful animated movie, which you should see if you enjoy good animation. And then I will add one more, and that is The Wild Robot.
Oh, I
If
did see that actually. I
it
did
was
see
pretty,
that.
it
That
was
was
pretty
good.
good. I
Yeah,
liked The Wild Robot. I just wanted to give a shout out to some animated movies because we didn't really do
yeah.
a lot with that this year.
No, yeah. I guess while you're at it, I did see Flow too. That was pretty good. No dialogue in that movie, but some. It's a cool story.
The Lego Pharrell movie was not bad.
Yeah, that was not bad either. That was pretty fun.
And that's all I'll add. I think anything that we mentioned or that you see on the screen, um, every single one of these is worth a watch, even if we don't recognize them for such.
Yeah, for sure.
That's it.
Yeah. All right. Next.
Moving on to the reason we're all here tonight.
Oh my god, it's the big boing boing. Here we are. The best picture. That's best movie, right? That's like best overall movie.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
correct.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is where it all comes down. You have been waiting, you have been listening patiently, calmly, and quietly for 2 hours now. Okay? It's taken us about 4 hours to get to this point. I added out a lot of things. This is for all of the marbles. For Best Picture, your nominees are a lot of familiar faces here: The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune 2, Challengers, and last but certainly not least, Anura.
Well,
Silence,
Jimmy,
please. Everybody
what do
take
you
a moment
think
of
is going to win?
silence. I
Oh
think
yeah,
it's.
Jim, you haven't been predicting anymore, bro. I
I
didn't hold you to
I was wrong. I was gonna be wrong every time.
that.
I
Tell
guess
us what
this is the most important one.
you've heard us talk about a lot of movies.
Uh,
So
See, the thing is, I can't really just like I really can't eliminate everything because certain movies have like been in the conversation or have won every thing associated with like a good movie. Like Conclave won for best like sound and like design, but like Dune was in there for a lot of them. The Brutalist 2 was in like a lot of those conversations as well. So I'm thinking, as much as I like Anura, it was only nominated like twice, like three times or three or four times. Not as much as the first three. Challengers got recommended too, but I think it's the Brutalist, Dune, or Conclave. That's like the three. And
Howard, make a decision.
if I had to knock out one more, probably the Brutalist. So then it's between Conclave and Dune, and I'm gonna go with Dune, uh, because. All right.
And
Oh,
Lupo goes to.
yeah! I just love how sassy those priests are, bro.
Jim, you
Divas,
were so
absolute
close to
divas.
success. And I will stop one more time and say Ray Fiennes is on the red carpet right now as we speak, and he went for a very classic black and white tails, but his bow tie is lined with white, and he looks very dapper.
Yeah,
Very
it's very cool.
steezy. Very steezy.
A very dignified look for a very dignified.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so as far as best picture, me and Christian saw Conclave together, and I think I said to him when we walked out of the theater, um, that it was. I thought then it was going to be the best movie I saw that year.
I did as well. If you remember,
Now,
we were kind of stuck in
yeah,
our chairs after as the credits were rolling. Like,
yeah, oh
holy
yeah,
shit!
yeah. Now it ended up being closer than I expected for a lot of reasons, but um, ultimately, this I think Conclave was the best movie, and it's such a. I think it's such a structurally perfect movie. I also said this to you as we were walking out. I think the script is structured perfectly. I think the pacing is perfect. I think it's shot beautifully, and the I think there's it does literally everything well. And while there are very high points in some of the other movies, I think from beginning to end, Conclave, every single moment feels like um, it was by design. Um,
My
and
mom
they
also
all do
really
to an
liked this
extent.
movie.
Your mom likes it.
Yeah, she thought it was good.
That's the best recommendation we could give. But yeah, I mean, I just think from beginning to end, and all to an extent, they're all that way. But this to more so, and it's a great cast. Ray Fiennes is great.
And
I just think it was the best.
I don't think we had to compromise either. This was just naturally my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah,
And obviously the Lupo reflects that.
I will say this: the first movie that I saw here, I believe, was Challengers, and I didn't see it again until this week. So, if you asked me last week what the last movie in was, it was Challengers probably. Watched it again this week, and I think that is maybe the second best movie here. Um, but again, it's just so close all around. But I just think because that came out so long ago, and I'm sure this is impacting the actual awards,
For sure.
people are kind of forgetting it a little bit. But it is really an unbelievable movie. And all five of these, I mean, Dune 2, Honora, The Brutalist, like, that's just a great lineup, dude. We got it. We fucking nailed it. We
Um,
fucking nailed it.
yeah, I don't know. I've seen this one 5 times, I think. So I might be biased. I haven't seen Challengers in maybe like 2, 3 weeks. For me, the order is probably a little different where I would probably give Brutalist the second place. Um, just because of the impactfulness of it, I guess. It's just one of those movies you're left it sits with you for a while.
Yeah. I think
Um,
kind of I think this was a loaded year. And I think kind of like actor, any other year, I think any of these could win. We've had some weak winners. We've had Green Book. We've had I like the movie, but Shape of Water I think would be considered like a weaker winner. Like these in any of those years, I think absolutely a winner. We just happen to have a really stacked year. I think partially because of the writer's strike and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I think ultimately I do think Conclave is the movie I will be watching for many years to come, over and over again, and it has so much rewatchability. Um, I just loved it. Yeah.
yeah, no, that's yeah. I couldn't add anything else. This is a great movie, and if you haven't seen it, this is my number one recommendation.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
You know what? I disagree.
Wow, how dare you?
It should have been Long Legs. Long Legs should have won.
Well, Craven was in the discussion as well, but didn't quite make it.
Am I crazy? Is that the last award?
That
That's
is
the
the
last
last
award.
award.
Yeah, that is. We
We
fucking
really
did it.
banged that out with 3 minutes to spare before the Grammys come on.
Yep. Those Oscars, dude. We
Oscars.
keep
Ah!
fucking calling it the Grammys.
I don't know.
Like the eighth time.
I try to think of award to try and I'm trying to actively not do it, but then I just think of award, and the first award that comes up is
I
Grammy.
mean, no, when you think about it, they're all just lesser versions of a Lupo, so it's
That's so
True,
understandable.
true.
true. Nothing
So
can
true.
truly be as impressive as a Lupo.
We'll
Does
get
the
there.
Lupos have a fancy theme song?
We'll make one.
No.
I don't know.
Oh, that sounds good.
Um,
Oh, I like
what
that.
It's
about like
jazzy.
what about like
I'm pretty sure that's a actual song. I think he just took a riff from a song.
I think I did.
Isn't
But I
that
don't
that song with like the saxophone or whatever? Yeah, I know.
I
I
don't
think I
know.
know what you did.
Maybe we'll get Steely Dan back to life and they can write it for us.
Yeah.
They're dead.
I think maybe. I don't know.
Wow.
No one knows.
But
Nobody
knows
knows.
the trouble I've seen.
from the bottom of my heart, thank you everyone for joining us on the first ever Lupo Awards.
Yes, the Lupos, and we will be back. We will be
After this
back.
short commercial.
That is a threat.
Did she say that as a threat?
Yeah.
Well, for those of you in between that are going to be experiencing the stream live, we are going to be watching the Grammys in its fullest. I'm not really sure how I wanted to do this. So
The Oscars. You did it again.
Fuck!
His
Oh my
Twitch has
god!
the Grammys up
Oh
right
my
now.
god!
You keep saying it. We just talked about it.
Rob, you got to see this. No, Jimmy, bring it back. We had a big banner that said the Grammys.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I remember one time on Twitter you talked about how you didn't like a Lil Wayne album, and that was like the only time your Twitter was ever like popping up full of randoms like arguing with you.
No, I've had that a couple times, but that was crazy because like I didn't even expect it. I was just like fucking bullshitting, and then all of a sudden I was like fucking getting turned like by these fucking random people. But that's happened a couple times. I had one wrestling take one time. I had random people fucking talking shit. Or no, was it wrestling? I don't know what it was. I don't know. It's happened a couple times.
My tweets might have been the dumbest tweets on earth.
Yeah, but
And
it was fun back then. I feel like Twitter now
it
just
was.
sucks.
Yeah, it
I don't.
does.
I felt that way. Like a few years ago, but that was just more of like my own fatigue and not like trends I was noticing.